Chapter 917. Of course, he couldn't beat Luoyue, Wu Hin, and the other two lesser sovereigns and was forced to flee. So, he could only regain his confidence with us. You want to kill all the dogs on the Emperor board? You're a dog. You bully the weak and fear the strong. Even if you kill me, I will still say it. For a moment, more and more angry geniuses cursed at Wang Mang. Of course, there were also some geniuses who didn't dare to say anything. Even if they were angry, they didn't express it. But in the next moment, something that none of the geniuses had expected happened. Wang Mang suddenly attacked outside the city gate. A terrifying black giant palm of the law of devouring was thrown out. Rumble. It was accompanied by an earth-shattering sound. The dozens of geniuses who had cursed at Wang Mang earlier. At this moment, Wang Mang had obliterated him on the spot. Seeing this scene, the other geniuses were even more frightened. They didn't expect Wang Mang to really attack them. Moreover, he attacked outside the 12 cities. Wasn't this guy afraid of losing his reputation? But what they didn't know was Wang Mang didn't care about his reputation at all. In Wang Mang's opinion, you can curse me, but you better be stronger than me. If you are weaker than me, how dare you curse me in front of me? I will definitely kill you. Wang Mang didn't care even if they gossiped behind his back. But these guys dared to mock him in front of him. Were they bullying him because he couldn't hold the saber? Or did they think that he wouldn't attack the weak? If that was really the case, then they would be gravely mistaken. Wang Mang didn't feel ashamed at all to attack the weak, especially when he saw that the group of geniuses had shut up. Wang Mang nodded in satisfaction. Then, he put his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "What? Why are you silent? Who else wants to die? Come out." After hearing Wang Mang's words, the rest of the geniuses who were under Wang Mang's pressure fell silent. What could they say? This little sovereign didn't play by the rules and didn't care about his reputation. What could they do? However, after thinking about it carefully, they realized that Wang Mang's reputation was not very good to begin with. A year ago, when Wang Mang had broken through to the junior sovereign realm, he had been chased by Luoyue, Wu Hin, and the other two junior sovereigns. The news had already spread throughout the 12 cities. Even the well-informed prodigies of the 11 cities knew about it. Wang Mang nodded his head in satisfaction after seeing that all the prodigies had shut their mouths. Then he said in a condescending tone, "Even if I did, so what if I once fled in a sorry state? But I'm still in existence that you have to look up to." With that, Wang Mang placed his hands behind his back and walked into the city. Only after Wang Mang left did the terrifying Supreme Being pressure disappear. Only then did the group of sky prides heave a sigh of relief. Then, they could not help but curse in private. After all, Wang Mang was too arrogant. He was even more arrogant than the previous 10 junior sovereigns of the 12 cities. In their opinion, Wang Mang was just a monkey trying to be a tyrant. If the 10 junior sovereigns were still in the 12 cities, would Wang Mang dare to be so arrogant? Because the 10 junior sovereigns had already entered the 13th city. The 13th city had already opened. Moreover, the prodigies could only stay for a year. Therefore, the prodigies of the 12 cities had basically gathered in the 13th city. Most of the prodigies of the 12 cities had come from the 11 cities. Therefore, after Wang Mang entered the 12 cities, he also found that something was wrong. He didn't even find the aura of a junior sovereign. At first, Wang Mang was puzzled. Later, he found out the news after asking. It turned out that most of the prodigies of the 12 cities had gone to the 13th city. However, Wang Mang also got a message that the tomb of the invincible Supreme Sovereign had just ended. This proved that the female sovereign and demon lord sovereign hadn't come to the 12 cities yet. Thinking of this, Wang Mang decided to wait for the arrival of the two sovereigns in the 12 cities. Presumably, when the tomb of the invincible Supreme Sovereign ended, they wouldn't stay in the 11 cities. Therefore, Wang Mang found an inn in the 12 cities and continued to wait. 3 days later, Wang Mang didn't see the demon lord sovereign. Instead, he saw two new sovereigns. The two new sovereigns came together. As soon as he entered the 12 cities, Wang Mang felt their aura. Similarly, the two new sovereigns also felt Wang Mang's aura. When the two new sovereigns appeared in front of Wang Mang was even more surprised. It was a fat man and a thin man. The fat junior sovereign had a pregnant belly and wore a Taoist robe. His smile was incomparably kind. Wang Mang saw the information on the god list at a glance. Survival Master. Ranking on the god list, 15th. The other handsome, young, 9 Heaven Supreme was wearing a green robe. The information on the god list above his head was also very conspicuous. Green Emperor. Ranking on the god list, 14th. Good heavens. Survival Master and Green Emperor. What two strange names. For a moment, Wang Mang looked at the two curiously. Judging from the fluctuations of their aura, the major laws of the two were very strange. Moreover, he felt an inexplicable sense of threat, but it wasn't strong. In comparison, this sense of threat wasn't as strong as the 3 lesser sovereigns, Luoyue and Wuhan. But after thinking about it, Wang Mang felt relieved. He wasn't weak now. Not only did he have a 6th-level divine weapon, but he also had a new 6th-level divine ability. Therefore, the fact that these two guys could still give him a sense of threat proved that they were indeed extraordinary. No wonder they could survive so easily. Thinking of this, Wang Mang suddenly had a thought. Maybe these two guys could team up with him? Of course, the premise was that he had to find out who was the one who tried to kill them. If it was still the 3 junior sovereigns, then it was very possible for him to team up with them. Thinking of this, Wang Mang immediately nodded to the two with his hands behind his back and said with a smile, "Fellow cultivators, why don't you come up and have a seat?" Hearing this, the two looked at each other and nodded to Wang Mang with a smile. "Since you invited us, it would be impolite of us to refuse." After saying that, the two walked up the inn and soon came to the room where Wang Mang was. Wang Mang, who was sitting in his seat, immediately smiled and stretched out his hand. "Fellow cultivators, please have a seat." The two didn't feel the slightest bit restrained and sat down. At this moment, Green Emperor took the lead and said, "Fellow cultivator, why did you invite us?" Hearing this, Survival Master also nodded and looked at Wang Mang. Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately asked with a smile, "May I know which junior sovereign stopped the two of you when you were breaking through?" Hearing this, Survival Master and Green Emperor were stunned and then looked at each other. Survival Master said helplessly, "I'm ashamed to say that I was quite unlucky. After breaking through, I was stopped by Sikongzhen. To be honest, if it wasn't for my extraordinary strength, I'm afraid I would have died." Chapter 9:18. After hearing Survival Master's words, Green Emperor immediately laughed out loud and mocked him. "You could have just said that you ran away fast. You still have the nerve to say that you're extraordinary? Who doesn't know about the geniuses of the 11 cities? Even Sikongzhen couldn't catch up with your speed." Hearing Green Emperor's mockery, Survival Master said disapprovingly, "Speed-type abilities are also a skill. Staying alive is the way to go. You'll have nothing if you die." Hearing this, Wang Mang also nodded in agreement. Fellow Taoist is right. Staying alive is the way to go. Seeing Wang Mang agree, Survival Master raised his eyebrows, his face full of pride. After all, being able to leave Sikongzhen in the dust in terms of speed was also a skill. Could anyone have this kind of ability? At this time, Wang Mang looked at Green Emperor calmly and asked, "Fellow Taoist, which lesser supreme stopped you?" Green Emperor's relaxed expression instantly turned gloomy, and he said in a deep voice, "Just like you, I was attacked by Luoyue, Traceless, and Luoyue." Speaking of this, Green Emperor gnashed his teeth angrily and said, "I'm not as good as you, fellow Taoist. You have a good brother who's in the top 3 of the Emperor ranking. If I hadn't prepared a 6th-order teleportation talisman and many 6th-order talismans in advance, I'm afraid I would have died long ago. Those 3 bastards are simply shameless. The 3 of them sneak attacked me, a newcomer who just broke through to Lesser Supreme." After hearing Green Emperor's words, Wang Mang's eyes suddenly lit up. This guy was also stopped by Luoyue and Traceless. In this case, if he proposed to team up to kill Luoyue and Traceless, this guy would definitely agree. After all, Green Emperor had the same experience as him. He wouldn't believe that he didn't hate Luoyue and Traceless. However, in the next instant, The Green Emperor's words caused Wang Mang to be dumbstruck. The Green Emperor smiled sinisterly. However, I've already found a way to take revenge. I heard that Luoyue Wuhan has a childhood sweetheart fiancé. He seems to have also ascended the path of conquest. This emperor has already issued a bounty to capture his woman, said Qin Wentian. At that time, I will play with his woman in front of him. Moreover, his woman must be willing to do it. I want him to suffer so much that he'll wish he were dead. As he spoke, the Green Emperor revealed an extremely lewd smile. At that moment, Wang Mang felt his scalp go numb. This fellow's heart was simply too evil. This is too King vicious. But I like it. This guy is really sinister. But at this moment, Survival Master shook his head and advised, "Why do you have to do this, fellow Taoist? Killing people is just a matter of time. You're such a beast. His methods are too despicable. If word of this gets out, fellow Taoist's reputation will definitely be ruined." The Green Emperor slammed the table in displeasure and snorted coldly. "Why do I need to explain my actions to others? If they can be so shameless, why can't this emperor use such despicable methods?" Hearing this, Wang Mang also nodded in agreement and said, "Fellow Taoist survival, the Green Emperor is right, giving them a taste of their own medicine. How is it despicable and shameless?" Seeing that Wang Mang agreed with his point of view, the Green Emperor was immediately overjoyed. He happily raised his head and looked at Wang Mang. "Fellow Taoist, you're the first person who understands me so well. If you don't mind, I'm willing to become good friends with fellow Taoist." Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately laughed and said, "I don't mind becoming good friends with fellow Taoist." Of course, Wang Mang actually despised this guy in his heart, because this guy's methods were too despicable. It didn't matter if he couldn't beat him. He could take revenge in other ways. But this guy, since he couldn't beat him, he went to bully a woman. This kind of person was really a little despicable. At least Wang Mang wasn't as shameless as him. Moreover, he had never used such methods to deal with others. Basically, if he had a grudge, he would take revenge and directly target the enemy's family. As the saying goes, one shouldn't implicate the family. The matters of the martial arts world should be settled in the martial arts world. One still had to pay attention to morality. However, the Green Emperor had no bottom line at all. He had no morals in the martial arts world. Although he was the same kind of person as Wang Mang, he wasn't exactly the same kind of person, because Wang Mang was at least a little better than this guy. Thinking of this, Wang Mang couldn't help but say softly, "Fellow Taoist, since you hate the trio so much, you can't just find trouble with one of them, right? I think that traceless fallen moon, the god of massacre, and cold sword of Jiuzhou all deserve to die. Why don't we join forces and kill all three of them?" After saying that, Wang Mang looked at the Survival Master, because Wang Mang knew that he didn't need to persuade the Green Emperor. On the contrary, the Survival Master was the target he needed to persuade. After all, this guy had no grudge with the trio at all. In addition, this guy's speed was so fast that even Sikongzhen couldn't catch up to him. It could be said that the Survival Master could completely stay out of it. Therefore, Wang Mang couldn't make up his mind whether he could persuade this guy. Hearing this, the Survival Master immediately hesitated and refused. "No, fellow Taoists, I have no grudge with the three of them. There's no reason for me to kill them." Obviously, the Survival Master didn't want to kill other supreme prodigies. He teamed up with the Green Emperor only to take care of each other. The relationship between the two wasn't as good as imagined. After hearing the Survival Master's words, Wang Mang was instantly disappointed. Hearing this, the Green Emperor also looked at the Survival Master with some dissatisfaction and said coldly, "If you act alone like this, you'll die an unnatural death sooner or later. Do you really think that the 10 supreme prodigies of the 13 cities are kind people?" In response, the Survival Master smiled slightly and didn't refute, as if he didn't care. Obviously, his confidence was based on a speed that others couldn't compare to. "Fellow Taoist, even without him, we can still kill Traceless Fallen Moon and the other two." At this point, the Green Emperor glanced at the Survival Master and said sarcastically, "Someone has already rejected it. What's the point of staying here? Don't tell me you want to eavesdrop on our plan? Hearing this, the survival master immediately snorted unhappily. "Umph. I'm ashamed to be in the same team as you." After saying that, the fatty got up and left. In response, Wang Meng didn't urge this guy to stay. Since they couldn't walk together, there was no point in persuading him to stay. At this time, the Green Emperor was in a good mood. "Fellow Taoist, even if it's just the two of us, it's enough. At most, we can come up with a good plan and take them down one by one. I already have a thorough plan here." At this point, the Green Emperor suddenly smiled sinisterly. "I plan to secretly capture Fallen Moon and Traceless Fallen Moon's woman. When the time comes, I'll get someone to bring him a message and let him go alone. This kind of thing is embarrassing enough. This guy will definitely not tell anyone about this. Moreover, this guy must be confident that he can easily kill me. It's very likely that he won't call for help." Wang Meng pondered for a moment and felt that the plan wasn't bad. He nodded and said, "All right, we'll use your method." Chapter 919. Although the Green Emperor's method was very insidious, it was also very effective. If Wang Meng were to encounter such a situation, he would definitely think that he could kill the Green Emperor. Thus, he would not tell anyone about this matter and would go to the appointment alone. Thinking of this, Wang Meng couldn't help but reveal a sinister smile. Seeing this, the Green Emperor nodded in satisfaction and said, "Fellow Taoist, just wait for my news." After we worked together to kill Luoyue and Traceless, the remaining god of massacre and frozen, Sword of the Nine Provinces, are nothing to be afraid of. Hearing this, Wang Meng nodded and then asked, "Fellow Taoist, how many geniuses have been born recently?" "Recently, I have been in seclusion to heal my injuries, so I've been somewhat isolated from the news." The Green Emperor was stunned at first, then slowly said, "Actually, there are as many as 20 lesser sovereigns. Look, the only ones who survived are me and the survival master. And this was under the condition that we were fully prepared to survive the crisis. The rest of the lesser sovereigns who had just broken through have all died. They were all killed by a group of lesser sovereigns." Speaking of this, the Green Emperor sighed with emotion. If he hadn't made sufficient preparations, he would have died. Hearing this, Wang Meng nodded inwardly. The death rate was indeed too high. At the same time, Wang Meng felt a lot better in his heart. This proved that the attack on him wasn't an exception. The only exception was that the trio of Luoyue and Traceless wanted to kill him together. It was indeed a bit shameless. At this time, the Green Emperor also stood up, cupped his hands, and said a few words before leaving. As for Wang Meng, he was waiting for the Green Emperor's good news. He believed that a dignified lesser sovereign should have no problem dealing with a woman. In fact, Wang Meng didn't have to wait too long. More than a week later, the Green Emperor went to find Wang Meng. Moreover, there was a beautiful woman beside him. This woman looked very pure. Her face was as white as porcelain. Her wonderful and voluptuous figure made her look very graceful. However, the mood on her pretty face was obviously not happy. Wang Meng even noticed that this woman looked a little haggard. From her staggering footsteps, Wang Meng could guess that she had been tortured by Green Emperor for the past few days. Although Wang Meng despised this, he did not say it out loud. In contrast, the Green Emperor had a wide smile on his face. "Fellow Taoist, let's go and choose a place." Hearing that, Wang Meng nodded and said, "All right, how can we leave now?" The Green Emperor, who was hugging the woman, immediately laughed loudly. "Go. I've already sent someone to inform him. If nothing unexpected happens, they should take the initiative to come here." Hearing that, Wang Meng did not waste any more words. He immediately left the tavern with the Green Emperor. After leaving the inn, Wang Meng, the Green Emperor, and the others quickly left the 12 cities. Then, the three of them went deep into the desert and chose an extremely far desert. Then, Wang Meng lay in ambush in the desert. The Green Emperor and this woman, on the other hand, they were simply unscrupulous. In the desert, they began to do things indecently. What shocked Wang Meng even more was that he did not know what kind of bewitching potion the Green Emperor had fed this woman. It could be said that he had made this woman extremely obedient. Just like that, 2 full days passed. It was only on the third day that Wang Mang noticed the commotion. Then, Wang Mang, who was hiding in the desert, saw the figure rushing over from afar. Moreover, judging from the aura, it was definitely a lesser supreme. Moreover, it was exceptionally familiar. It was only when the figure got closer that Wang Mang finally got a good look at it. It was Traceless Moonfall. At this moment, Traceless Liu's face was gloomy. She stared coldly at the Green Emperor and this pure woman. Then, just as the Green Emperor was about to threaten them, Traceless Liu said coldly, "Why don't you kill yourself? Why are you still alive?" Obviously, Traceless Liu was not angry about being cuckolded at all. He was furious that the woman had not died at the first opportunity. Because if this woman had died immediately after being threatened, he would not have been humiliated. Moreover, he could tell that this woman was no longer clean. But did he care about this woman? He did not. A woman wanted to control him? With his current strength, he could have as many women as he wanted. Naturally, he would not be controlled by a woman. If a woman wanted to control him, he would not have achieved what he had today. At this moment, after hearing Traceless Liu's words, the Green Emperor also recovered from his shock. He looked at the woman in his arms who was laughing at herself. His heart was filled with mixed feelings. Then, the Green Emperor immediately pushed the woman away and said softly, "You should leave." Hearing this, the woman smiled sadly and said, "I can't leave. He will kill me." Hearing this, the corners of the Green Emperor's mouth curled up. He raised his hand and pushed the woman toward Traceless Liu. But in the next moment, Traceless Liu raised her hand and used all her strength. A giant palm of law blasted out. Rumble. In the next moment, the woman in the white dress who looked like a celestial fairy was blasted into nothingness. Seeing this, the Green Emperor smiled and clapped. "Fellow cultivator, you are ruthless." Traceless Liu's eyes were cold when she heard this. "How dare you humiliate me? You deserve to die." As soon as she finished speaking, a golden spear appeared in Traceless Liu's hand. Judging from the ripples of law, it was obviously a 6th-stage divine weapon. Then, Traceless Liu did not waste any time. Her body shot out like a cannonball and attacked the Green Emperor. Seeing this, the Green Emperor's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly took out a pseudo-6th-stage divine weapon and braced himself to meet the attack. Then, the two of them quickly engaged in a fierce battle. However, the speed at which the Green Emperor was defeated was even faster than he had imagined. He could not hold on for more than a few minutes. Then, before Wang Mang could find a chance to launch a sneak attack, the Green Emperor could not hold on any longer. The Green Emperor couldn't hold on any longer, and he yelled in an urgent voice, "Save me, fellow Taoist." Wang Mang had no choice but to charge out of the desert in an instant. The halberd in his hand pierced toward Traceless Liu. Traceless Liu was also shocked by Wang Mang's sudden appearance. She hurriedly retreated. When she saw Wang Mang clearly, Traceless Liu, who was holding the spear, was extremely shocked. "It's you." Hearing that, Wang Mang sneered and said, "What? You wanted to kill me back then. Now you remember?" Traceless Liu's expression was indifferent. After carefully sizing up the halberd in Wang Mang's hand, she said coldly, "I see. I was wondering why this piece of trash, the Green Emperor, dared to take revenge on me. So he was trying to rope you in. What? You think you have accumulated enough power this time? So you set up an ambush to kill me here?" Hearing this, Wang Mang sneered. "What? Do you think I can't kill you? If I didn't have full confidence, would I have come to ambush you?" Traceless Liu did not speak. Her gaze was fixed on the 100 battle armor on Wang Mang's body. Moreover, she guessed that if Wang Mang wanted to kill her, it would not be as simple as having 2 6th-level divine weapons. Perhaps Wang Mang had already made up for the lack of divine powers. At this thought, even Traceless Moon's expression gradually turned grave. Seeing this, Wang Mang was in high spirits. This bastard was obviously starting to panic. Wang Mang glanced at the Green Emperor, who was setting up a barrier in the distance. Then, he looked down at Liu Traceless from above and said with the demeanor of an expert, "Don't worry. If you kneel down in front of me now, I can spare your dog life. Chapter 920. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Mang looked at Traceless Luoyue with a playful gaze. He looked as if he was certain that he could defeat Traceless Luoyue. Back then, this guy also looked as if he was certain that he could defeat him. Not only him, but also the god of massacre and cold sword of the 9 states. The three of them did not take him seriously at all. It was as if he was an ant that they could easily crush. Now, Wang Mang was certain that he could defeat this guy as well. That was because Wang Mang was confident that he had all the techniques that the other party had. Moreover, he had more divine weapons than this guy. Now, he even cultivated his exclusive nomological divine ability. A nomological divine weapon. In every aspect, Wang Mang was stronger than the other party. Why couldn't he defeat the other party? He had 2 6th-level divine abilities. He had 2 6th-level divine weapons. He had everything that the other party had. What he had, the other party did not. That was Wang Mang's confidence. Similarly, Traceless Luoyue, who had a serious expression, suddenly laughed out of anger. Who did Wang Mang think he was? Was an ant from the past worthy of making him kneel and beg for mercy? In his eyes, Wang Mang was just an ant that almost died at his hands in the past. He was lucky enough to escape with his life. Instead of hiding, he came to seek revenge. Thinking of this, a cold smile flashed across Traceless Moon's face as she mocked. You think a piece of trash like you is worthy of making me beg for mercy? You're just a toad yawning. How arrogant. At this point, Traceless Luoyue naturally noticed the Green Emperor who was setting up the barrier. However, he still acted as if he did not see her. With his hand behind his back, he mocked, "You could try to attack me. Let's see if I can suppress you easily." Hearing that, Wang Mang laughed out of anger. Seeing that the Green Emperor was almost done setting up the barrier, he did not waste any more words. Without further ado, he raised the black halberd in his hand and charged toward Traceless Luoyue. Traceless Luoyue was not to be outdone. She held the golden spear and charged toward Wang Mang. The two of them exchanged blows at almost the same time. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of metal clashing rang out. Wang Mang's halberd and Traceless Moonlight's spear collided. A terrifying power of law erupted as the Golden Law and Wang Mang's Devour Law collided. In the next moment, both of them took several steps back. Both of them were greatly shaken by the other's power of laws. However, Wang Mang didn't think so. He raised his halberd and attacked again. At the same time, he shouted angrily, "Bastard, give me your life. You think I'm afraid of you?" Traceless Fallen Moon roared angrily in response, and once again engaged in a fierce battle with Wang Mang, her speed becoming faster and faster. Moreover, under the circumstances where both of their divine weapons were of the same level, it would be difficult to determine who was the stronger one in a short time. However, as time passed, Traceless Fallen Moon began to look extremely wretched. Many bloody wounds appeared on her body. There was no other reason. As long as Traceless Moonlight made a mistake, Wang Mang would seize the opportunity and even want his life. However, it didn't matter if Wang Mang made a mistake. He had the 100 battle godly armor and wasn't worried about making a mistake at all. Moreover, Traceless Fallen Moon's spear couldn't break the 100 battle godly armor on Wang Mang's body. After all, the 100 battle godly armor on Wang Mang was also a lower level 6 divine weapon. Therefore, Wang Mang became more and more courageous as the battle went on. Relying on the 100 battle godly armor, he forced his opponent to retreat. After this battle, Traceless Fallen Moon felt very aggrieved. He had never thought that there would be a day where he would be suppressed by a mere ant. However, he didn't have any temper. He felt extremely aggrieved and angry throughout the entire battle. If he also had a level 6 defensive divine weapon like this, he wouldn't have to worry about this problem. In fact, he might even be able to suppress the former Wang Mang. Therefore, although Traceless Fallen Moon was annoyed, he was extremely greedy. In his opinion, if he could obtain this level 6 defensive divine weapon, his ranking on the Emperor board would definitely improve. Thinking of this, Traceless Fallen Moon's desire to kill Wang Mang grew even stronger. Even if he was at a disadvantage, he was still looking for an opportunity to defeat him. No, he was looking for an opportunity to kill Wang Mang. Although Wang Mang was wearing the 100 battle godly armor, his head wasn't protected by the divine weapon. However, Wang Mang also understood this logic. Therefore, Wang Mang wouldn't give him any chances. Moreover, his attacks were getting fiercer and fiercer. There were a few times where Wang Mang's spear almost cut off his head. Obviously, he was trying to find an opportunity to kill Wang Mang. Wang Mang had already started trying to kill him. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. From beginning to end, he still couldn't find any opportunity to kill Wang Mang. On the contrary, he was covered in injuries and his situation wasn't optimistic. If this continued, he was worried that he would be exhausted to death by Wang Mang. At the same time, in order to prevent any unforeseen events from happening, Wang Mang also decided to use the Heaven's Chosen technique. After using the Heaven's Chosen technique, Wang Mang was confident that he could kill Traceless Fallen Moon. Because even without using the Heaven's Chosen technique, Wang Mang could still have the upper hand. If he used the Heaven's Chosen technique, there was a high chance that he could kill Traceless Fallen Moon. In the next moment, after the spears in their hands collided, they both pulled back. Seeing this, Traceless Fallen Moon was puzzled. He frowned and looked at Wang Mang. He couldn't understand. Wang Mang clearly had the upper hand. Why did he suddenly choose to stop? But in the next moment, Traceless Fallen Moon saw Wang Mang's hands forming a seal. The spear floated in front of him. Then, the terrifying law of devouring around Wang Mang covered the sky and condensed into a terrible storm. Heaven's Chosen technique. I am a chosen one, and the one and only chosen by the heavens. Following Wang Mang's angry roar, suddenly in the sky above, a terrifying law of devouring formed a pillar of light. It fell from the sky and enveloped Wang Mang. At the same time, the terrifying aura around Wang Mang began to rise. Under Traceless Fallen Moon's shocked gaze, Wang Mang's law of devouring was pervaded. His eyes were scarlet and fierce. His aura was 3 times more terrifying than before. Kill! Following an angry roar, Wang Mang's speed suddenly increased. He raised his spear and charged again. He raised the spear in his hand and slashed down on Traceless Fallen Moon's head. Traceless Fallen Moon came back to his senses. He quickly braced himself and raised his weapon to block above his head. Bang! Following a loud roar, Traceless Fallen Moon, who was resisting Wang Mang, was suddenly sent flying by the terrifying law of devouring. This also made Traceless Fallen Moon's face full of shock. He didn't expect that the level 6 supernatural power that Wang Mang used was actually a supernatural power that could increase one's combat strength. Such a supernatural power was too rare. It was definitely one of the rarest supernatural powers. Among the level 5 supernatural powers that could increase one's combat strength were also the rarest. Among the level 6 supernatural powers that could also increase one's combat strength were also the rarest. Moreover, it was just one blow. He couldn't withstand it all. What did this mean? It meant that after Wang Mang's combat strength increased, it formed an absolute crush on him. Chapter 9:21. When he thought of this, his face became extremely ugly. Because what did it mean to be absolutely crushed? It meant that he was no match for Wang Mang now. It meant that he was in danger of dying, especially when he saw the murderous intent in Wang Mang's eyes. Traceless Liu's face was extremely ugly, especially when he saw Wang Mang charging towards him again. His forehead was dripping with sweat as he hurriedly soared into the sky. At the same time, he made a hand seal with both hands and roared furiously. Sun and moon in the palm. As soon as he finished speaking, the sun and moon condensed between his palms was slapped out by him. The remaining power of the attack swept out in all directions. The dazzling sun and moon whizzed towards Wang Mang. Seeing this, Wang Mang immediately sneered. You're just struggling before your death. In the past, I might have been afraid of you, but now, when have I ever been afraid of you? As he spoke, Wang Mang immediately made a hand seal with both hands and shouted angrily. 3 devouring arts. Emperor, devouring curse. As soon as he finished speaking, a palm-sized curse seal formed by the law of devouring condensed. Then, Wang Mang raised his hand and slapped the emperor devouring curse towards traceless Luoyue. As for the sun and moon that traceless Luoyue used, Wang Mang was even more fearless. Immediately, he made a hand seal with both hands. Under the law of devouring, a black devouring gate appeared in front of Wang Mang. Then, the earth-shattering sun and moon that traceless Luoyue used was completely swallowed by the devouring gate. Traceless Luoyue was completely dumbfounded when he saw this. This divine ability could actually swallow the divine ability that he used. After coming back to his senses, Traceless Luoyue's face was extremely ugly. When he saw the Emperor devouring curse flying towards him, he immediately dodged. What Wang Mang used was a level 6 divine ability. It was impossible for it to be ordinary. But in the next moment, what made Traceless Luoyue collapse was that this divine ability was like a maggot in his bones. He could not get rid of it at all. It had been chasing after him all this time, as if it would not stop until it landed on him. At the same time, when Traceless Luoyue dodged, Wang Mang sneered again. He formed a seal with both hands and cast 2 more Emperor-devouring curses at Traceless Luoyue. In the end, under the pursuit of the 3 Emperor-devouring curses, one of them landed on his body. It was accompanied by a shrill scream. After being struck by the devouring Emperor curse, Traceless Luoyue's entire body was enveloped by the power of the law of devouring. The Emperor's devouring curse was like a black hole that could not be filled as it devoured the nomological powers around him. In an instant, he was severely injured, and his strength was reduced to less than half. This change caused Luoyue and Traceless Scar to panic. He was already no match for Wang Mang in this state. It would be even easier for Wang Mang to kill him. Therefore, Traceless Moon couldn't help but roar. "What are you waiting for? Come out and help me take down this kid." Wang Mang, who had been prepared to kill Traceless Moonlight, couldn't help but feel shocked when he heard Traceless Moonlight's roar. Could this guy have brought someone here? Thinking of this, Wang Mang immediately became vigilant. At the same time, the Green Emperor, who was watching the battle from afar, also had a drastic change in expression. Originally, he thought that Wang Mang would be able to kill Traceless Moonlight without him making a move. He didn't expect this guy to bring someone here. However, after careful observation, Wang Mang and the Green Emperor didn't discover any supreme beings. Seeing this, Wang Mang heaved a sigh of relief. Then, he looked coldly at Traceless Moonlight and mocked him. "What? Do you think you can frighten me with just a few words? Oof. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death." As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Mang didn't hesitate and immediately made a hand seal with both hands to cast a divine power. 3 arts of devouring. Art of devouring. As soon as he finished speaking, the law of devouring that had gathered around Wang Mang's body suddenly condensed into a gate of devouring. Not only that, but a monster whose aura was even more powerful than Wang Mang's stepped out of the gate of devouring. It was a tall and strong monster with horns on its head, blood-red eyes, and 8 wings on its back. It looked like a human and had a tail behind it. The law of devouring surrounded its body as it let out a low and hoarse roar. Then it charged toward Traceless Moonlight. Obviously, this was the last move of Wang Mang's 3 arts of devouring. The art of devouring. He summoned a devouring monster that was as powerful as him. Traceless Moonlight's expression changed drastically when she saw this monster that was several meters tall. A golden spear appeared in her hand out of thin air. She roared and charged toward the monster again. Although her strength was less than half, she definitely wouldn't sit still and wait for death. However, when she tried to kill this monster, she was horrified to find that this monster couldn't be killed, even though the stage 6 divine weapon in her hand had pierced through the monster. After the monster let out a painful roar, it clawed at her face with its sharp claws. Although she barely dodged the monster's claws, a bloody claw appeared on her face. Then, the monster madly pounced on her, trying to devour her. However, Even if her strength was less than half, traceless moonlight was still extremely powerful. She used the spear in her hand to prevent the monster from getting close to her. Seeing this, Wang Mang sneered and immediately joined the encirclement with his halberd. This caused Traceless Moon to panic completely. She roared angrily. She roared, "If you don't come out now, I'll really die." At that time, even if the three of you attack together, you still won't be able to kill this guy. As for who he was calling out, only he knew in his heart. Fortunately, he was relieved to see three lesser sovereigns' auras in the distance sweeping toward him. Seeing this, Wang Mang's expression changed. He recognized the three lesser sovereigns at a glance. They were the god of massacre, freezing sword of 9 provinces, and survival master. In just a moment, Wang Mang guessed the general situation. It was definitely survival master who went to leak information. He directly sold out Wang Mang and Green Emperor. Thinking of this, Wang Mang's expression became gloomy. Similarly, Green Emperor didn't hesitate to turn around and run away. This scene caused Wang Mang's anger to burn even brighter. Fortunately, the barrier that Green Emperor had set up earlier should be able to hold on for a while. Therefore, Wang Mang decided to kill Traceless Moonlight as quickly as possible. In the next moment, the halberd in Wang Mang's hand became faster and faster. Every move he made was aimed at taking Traceless Moonlight's life. This also made Traceless Moonlight instantly become surrounded by danger. Seeing this scene, the three people who were bombarding the barrier were even more shocked. They didn't expect Wang Mang to be so powerful. He was simply suppressing Traceless Moonlight. Among them, the two who were most shocked were Freezing Sword of 9 Provinces and the God of Massacre. They knew that Wang Mang used to be. To them, he was as weak as an ant. However, it had only been a year since then. Wang Mang was actually so powerful. In other words, in a one-on-one situation, they were absolutely no match for Wang Mang. Chapter 922. Thinking of this, both the God of Massacre and Cold Sword of Jiuzhou felt their scalps go numb. After all, Wang Mang's speed of improvement was too fast. Within a year, he had caught up with them in terms of foundation. Moreover, he now had the ability to kill them, if they continued to let him do as he pleased. Wang Mang was definitely a big problem for them. If they were left alone and allowed Wang Mang to seize the opportunity, their fates would definitely not be good. Just based on this point alone, Wang Mang's current ability was already comparable to Wang Shun's in the past. Thinking of this, both the God of Massacre and Cold Sword of Jiuzhou looked at Wang Mang with murderous intent. If they could, they would definitely kill Wang Mang this time. At the same time, they no longer held back and began to attack the enchantment frantically. The enchantment, which was originally a meter thick, was on the verge of collapsing under their combined attacks. It could be blasted open at any time. Originally, they were prepared to wait until Wang Mang and Traceless Luoyue were both injured before coming out to clean up the mess. However, after watching from afar for a long time, they did not dare to continue waiting. They were afraid that Traceless Luoyue would die in Wang Mang's hands. Moreover, looking at the situation before them, if they did not blast open the enchantment soon, Traceless Luoyue would definitely be in danger of dying. While they were attacking the enchantment crazily, Wang Mang suddenly seized an opportunity. The halberd in his hand immediately chopped off Traceless Luoyue's arm. Following a shrill scream, Traceless Luoyue's other arm was chopped off. In an instant, it was swallowed by the devouring monster that Wang Mang had summoned. Then, without waiting for Traceless Luoyue to counterattack, Wang Mang raised his halberd with a sinister smile and chopped towards Traceless Luoyue's head. Traceless Luoyue's face was pale. He quickly raised his halberd and blocked above his head. Clang! Following the sound of weapons colliding, Traceless Luoyue's arm was trembling. His chopped-off arm did not grow back, because this was the injury left behind by a level 6 divine weapon. The law of Devour was constantly destroying his wounds, preventing him from recovering in the shortest amount of time. In other words, it would take at least a month for his arm to grow back. This also caused his strength to become even weaker in a situation where his battle prowess had dropped greatly. Previously, he had blocked Wang Mang's halberd strike, and even his arm was trembling. At this moment, Wang Mang's eyes lit up. He immediately seized the opportunity and swung his halberd at Traceless Fallen Moon. Left with no choice, Traceless Luna could only raise the great spear in his hand to continue blocking. As for attacking, he was completely unable to do so, because it was already good enough that he could protect himself, especially after one of his arms was chopped off by Wang Mang. Not only did he have to deal with Wang Mang's halberd, but he also had to face Wang Mang's halberd. It was also because of the monsters that Wang Mang had summoned. It could be said that they were in danger of dying at any moment. This caused his heart to be in a mess, and it was even to the extent that he was slightly exasperated. It was just a barrier, and these three fellows actually couldn't break it. Clang! Right at this moment, Wang Mang's halberd changed to an upward slash. It directly sent the great spear in Traceless Luna's hand flying. Seeing this scene, Traceless Luna was even more shocked and angry. No! After saying that, Traceless Luna wanted to retreat and grab the great spear again, because now, the 6th level divine weapon was his only reliance. After losing the 6th level divine weapon, the possibility of him dying was as high as 90%. Unfortunately, seeing this, Wang Mang sneered and swung the halberd in his hand directly at Traceless Luna's head. Damn it! Seeing this scene, Traceless Luna immediately turned around and dodged. At the same time, he rushed toward the great spear that belonged to him in the distance. Wang Mang sneered. Then, without hesitation, he slapped the great halberd in his hand with all his might. The great halberd in his hand suddenly whistled out. In the next moment, just as Traceless Luna was about to grab the great spear with joy, the great halberd that came whistling from behind directly pierced through his chest. After looking down, he had already been pierced through from the back by the sharp great halberd. Blood was flowing out. Seeing this scene, Traceless Luna was stunned, especially when he felt his life force constantly dissipating. Was he about to die? Feeling the life force in his body dissipating, his primordial spirit was also slowly dispersing. Traceless Luna still wanted to say something, but in the next moment, the devouring monster swept over from behind. It directly pulled out Wang Mang's great halberd and then divided and devoured Traceless Luna. Seeing this scene, Cold Sword Jojo, the god of massacre and survival master, who were bombarding the barrier, were stunned. At this moment, they were all stunned. They had never expected that. Traceless Luna would actually die. Moreover, he was killed by Wang Mang right in front of them. For a moment, the three of them were all stunned. Obviously, even they, who were also Supremes, still couldn't accept this reality. Because what did this mean? It meant that they, who were at the same level, were also in danger of dying when facing Wang Mang. Rumble. At this moment, the fragile barrier suddenly exploded. Unfortunately, the three of them still didn't act rashly. Their eyes were fixed on Wang Mang. As for Wang Mang, he was also surprised by his own battle strength. He didn't expect that after enriching his foundation, his strength would actually be so powerful. One had to know that this was not his strongest state. The Heaven's chosen art that he used only increased his battle strength by 3 times. One had to know that the strongest superposition could increase his battle strength by 9 times. If it was really superimposed by 9 times, wouldn't he really be able to kill gods and Buddhas? Thinking of this, Wang Mang became even more high-spirited. At this moment, as the monster returned to the devouring gate, the system's voice also sounded frowny-faced. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Successfully devoured the 9th Heaven God Emperor, Little Supremes. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Successfully obtained 10 billion energy points. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Successfully obtained 2,000 talent points. After listening to the system's voice, the corners of Wang Mang's mouth rose slightly. Not bad, as expected of a Little Supremes. Even the energy points obtained couldn't be given by common sense. Then, Wang Mang looked at the frozen sword of 9 provinces, the god of slaughter, and the survival master. What? Don't tell me you still want to kill me? Wang Mang had his hands behind his back and asked indifferently with a calm expression. Hearing this, the faces of the three little supremes became extremely unsightly. However, the killing intent in their eyes was very strong, and they didn't dare to act rashly. Wang Mang's strength was too strong. He single-handedly killed Traceless Moonless, who was stronger than them. Naturally, he could kill any one of the lesser sovereigns if he was alone, especially Wang Mang's tyrannical aura. It was even stronger than the former Wang Shun. Seeing the three of them remaining silent, Wang Mang immediately became even more rampant. With his hands behind his back, he looked like an invincible existence and said condescendingly, "What's wrong with you? Back then, didn't the two of you look down on me? Didn't you want to kill me in the past? I'm right here. You can try. Humph. Now, I'm an existence that you need to look up to. Killing you is as easy as killing chickens and dogs." Chapter 923. After Wang Mang said these unscrupulous and arrogant words, he felt extremely comfortable in his heart. It had been too long since he was arrogant. After his strength had expanded, he really needed someone to show off. Now that he had used his absolute strength to kill him, if he didn't show off now, when would he? After hearing Wang Mang's words, whether it was the god of massacre or cold sword Jojo, their expressions turned heavy. If Wang Mang dared to be so arrogant in the past, they would definitely teach Wang Mang a lesson. But the current Wang Mang was indeed qualified to be so arrogant. Even if they attacked together, they might not be able to take down Wang Mang. Therefore, although they were very angry, they did not say anything. As for Wang Mang, he still wanted to continue attacking. However, Wang Mang knew that if the two of them attacked together, he would be able to defeat them. The chances of him killing them were really not high. If the survival master also attacked, there would be no chance at all. Therefore, Wang Mang's expression was calm. He looked at the survival master with his hands behind his back and said calmly, "Survival, are you sure you want to be enemies with me?" Hearing this, the survival master's chubby round face suddenly changed. He waved his hand and said, "Fellow cultivator, don't misunderstand. I'm just here to join the fun." After saying that, the survival master had no bottom line and directly gave up on his two allies, the god of massacre and cold sword Jojo. Then, he flew straight ahead, with no intention of stopping. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang's eyes flickered. He was obviously eager to give it a try. This was because he had used the god's chosen technique, but it was still early. At least tomorrow, his battle strength would not be over. If he could kill these two guys in one fell swoop, he could be considered to have taken his revenge. It was a pity that the Green Emperor, he actually ran away when he saw that the situation was not good. Otherwise, Wang Mang would definitely try to kill these two guys. However, what Wang Mang did not know was that when Wang Mang killed Yuan, in all the major cities on the path of 10,000 realms, the Emperor Ranking's announcement was heard. Congratulations! Slaughter all the little sovereigns on the Emperor board and successfully kill little sovereign Luoyue Wuhan. Congratulations! Slaughtered all the minor sovereigns on the monarch board and ascended to the 5th place. After the news spread, the entire road of battle across the heavens and realms was in an uproar. The most shocked person was Wang Shun, who was in the 13 cities, as well as the geniuses of the 13 cities. This was because everyone knew that Wang Mang had almost died in the past. Naturally, they knew about it. Yet now, Wang Mang had appeared again. Furthermore, he had successfully killed Wuhan Luoyue. What did this mean? This meant that Wang Mang's strength had skyrocketed. It represented the complete rise of Wang Mang. It meant that Wang Mang was now ranked at the top of the monarch ranking. Although Wang Mang used to be ranked in the top 10, he was still in the top 10. However, Wang Mang had killed a 9-heaven supreme who used to be ranked 5th on the monarch ranking. Didn't this mean that he had risen? Almost everyone could tell from the famous quote. Wang Mang's rise was unstoppable. All of a sudden, the sky prides and the countless cities began to discuss among themselves. My God, that guy did it. He didn't get killed in the past. Is he back to get his revenge? It's only been a year, and he managed to kill traceless Luoyue, who was the strongest among the trio. No one had high hopes for him in the past, but not only did he survive, he even rose to the top. This is unbelievable. How did this guy become so powerful? I even mocked him outside the 12 cities not long ago, as expected of Wang Shun's brother. After all, Wang Shun is ranked 3rd on the monarch ranking. If he's so strong, his brother shouldn't be too far behind. I had high hopes for him in the past. There must be a reason why he's so arrogant. He didn't let me down. You had high hopes for him. Why didn't you? I remember you said that if he managed to survive, you would chop his head off, right? For a time, all kinds of discussions spread among the major cities in the universe. Wang Shun, who had received the news, had a complicated expression on his face. He was also surprised by the rise of his main body. But that was all, because he knew that Wang Meng wouldn't be able to last until the end. Wang Meng wouldn't be able to participate in the battle for the Invincible Supremes. One had to know that this was only the beginning of the journey of conquering the myriad realms. The more time passed in the universe, the more lesser sovereigns would start to erupt. All sorts of freakish prodigies would appear one after another, like a group of heroes vying for supremacy and a group of demons dancing wildly. If there were only a dozen or so lesser supremes, how could they be considered invincible supremes? This was nothing more than a spark that had just been ignited on the path of war across the multiverse. What was more exciting was still to come. Among the hundreds of thousands of geniuses, how could there be so few lesser supremes? Those geniuses with invincible beliefs would step into the lesser supremes sooner or later. Moreover, as time passed, the number of lesser supremes would start to rise. Even the current lesser supremes on the list couldn't stop this from happening. It could even be said that even if the current lesser supremes sat firmly in the top 10 of the Emperor board, it didn't mean that they would still sit firmly in the top 10 of the Emperor board in the future. Before a large number of lesser supremes rose, they could only reach the greater supremes as soon as possible to maintain their advantage of breaking through first. Otherwise, they would become the dust of history under the impact of other lesser supremes, or they would become the stepping stone for the rise of other lesser supremes. Therefore, although he had mixed feelings about Wang Meng's rise, he didn't take it seriously, because he was ranked 3rd on the Emperor board. He had killed the former 3rd on the Emperor board, lesser supremes. In the end, he succeeded in replacing him. Of course, in comparison, the most shocked people, in fact, in the 12 cities, the female supremes and the demon lord who had just entered the 12 cities. They didn't expect that the little guy who had asked them for help in the past. Now, he had risen and became a lesser supremes who didn't lose to them. After receiving the news, the two were particularly surprised, but they didn't care too much, because they had also gained a lot in the tomb of the Invincible Supreme. Moreover, they knew that in the near future, an incomparably terrifying genius would walk out of the tomb of the Invincible Supreme. This genius had inherited the legacy of an invincible sovereign on the sovereign rankings. The moment he walked out of the sovereign tomb was the moment he rose to prominence. At the same time, who regretted it the most? This person was undoubtedly Hua Yunfei of the 10th city. After all, Wang Meng had become a lesser supremes. After learning this news, Hua Yunfei's intestines turned green with regret. Back then, because Wang Meng was blocked by the 12 cities' legendary geniuses, he chose to draw a clear line with Wang Meng. But after Wang Meng was rescued by the female supremes, he was too embarrassed to go up and hug her thigh again. But if he had known that Wang Meng would become a lesser supremes, he would have thickened his face and continued to hug her thigh. Chapter 924. Alas, if I had known that this guy could become a lesser sovereign, I would have continued to hug his thigh. For a moment, Hua Yunfei couldn't help but sigh with a bitter face. He was still struggling to accumulate his foundation and cultivation resources. If he still hugged his thigh, he believed that he would have completed the accumulation long ago. After all, with a lesser sovereign hugging his thigh, wouldn't it be easy to kill a genius? Unfortunately, there were no ifs. Therefore, he couldn't do anything about it no matter how much his heart ached. At the same time, outside the desert of the 12 cities, Wang Mang had already made his move. Obviously, he still wanted to give it a try. Therefore, Wang Mang was currently in a fierce battle with Jian Zhozhou and the god of massacre. However, if one observed carefully, they would find that even if Wang Mang couldn't suppress the two, he was still able to move freely. However, Wang Mang couldn't gain the upper hand at all. Even if he used the 3 arts of devouring, he still couldn't suppress them. Although the two were weaker than traceless Luoyue, they weren't that much weaker overall. Strictly speaking, this was the first time he had seen such a thing. Wang Mang's strength was comparable to traceless Luoyue without using the Heaven's Chosen Art. However, after using the Heaven's Chosen Art, his strength was much stronger than traceless Luoyue's. His strength had already surpassed traceless Luoyue. He should be at the level of the top 3 king gods on the monarch ranking. However, such strength wasn't enough to kill the 2 lesser sovereigns, let alone Jian Zhozhou and the god of massacre. Therefore, after Wang Mang discovered that he couldn't defeat the 2, he had the thought of retreating. After all, if the stalemate continued, he wouldn't have the chance to kill the 2. He might as well find another opportunity to kill them, or find another ally to attack them together. Therefore, Wang Mang raised the halberd in his hand and forced the 2 to retreat. With a cold snort, he turned around and left with the halberd. Seeing this scene, the 2 heaved a sigh of relief. After all, even if they forced Wang Mang to stay, they couldn't defeat Wang Mang. The current Wang Mang was too strong for them. He was comparable to another Wang Shun. In their eyes, the current Wang Mang was not weaker than Wang Shun in the slightest. Clearly, they did not know that Wang Mang's powerful state had a time limit. Other than that, what they did not know was that the Wang Mang in front of them was not in his strongest state. Once Wang Mang reached his strongest state, even the 2 of them would be no match for him. After all, the strongest state of Wang Mang's Heaven's Chosen technique could increase his battle strength by 9 times. It was easy to imagine how powerful Wang Mang was with 9 times his combat strength. It was only under the condition of being 3 times stronger. Wang Mang could easily kill Traceless Moonfall, not to mention that he was 9 times stronger than before. Because of this, Wang Mang was not in a hurry to deal with these 2 guys, although he was unable to kill these 2 fellows right now. However, he would have plenty of opportunities in the future. Therefore, after Wang Mang left, he returned to the 12 cities. He found an inn and rested in seclusion. On the second day, Wang Mang found that his strength had plummeted, and he was extremely weak. Wang Mang even suspected that his strength had dropped by more than half. His strength was less than half of his usual state. Fortunately, Wang Mang was already mentally prepared. Although he was not used to it, Wang Mang still chose to remain in seclusion. Until 1 month later, after this state of weakness completely disappeared. Only then did Wang Mang awaken from his seclusion. As for why, he no longer showed himself to the world during this period of weakness. The main reason was that Wang Mang did not want anyone to know about this state of weakness. As the saying goes, one should play to their strengths and avoid their weaknesses. Who would be willing to tell others about their weaknesses? Therefore, Wang Mang, who came out of seclusion, was in a good mood. He walked to the rented inn with his hands behind his back. The inns here were free of charge for little sovereigns. Not only here, but also in any city. Anyone who had reached the lesser sovereign level didn't need to pay any talent stones. This was because having a little sovereign staying in an inn was a great advertisement for the inn itself. But at this moment, Wang Mang immediately found that something was wrong. He was in an inn not far away. He felt the aura of Demon Master and female sovereign. In other words, these 2 fellows were in the inn across the street. Just as Wang Mang was puzzled, he suddenly saw something outside the inn across the street. Demon Master appeared in Wang Mang's line of sight with his hands behind his back. After seeing Sovereign Fiend Master, Wang Mang was even more astonished. Compared to not long ago, Demon Master's aura had become stronger. This proved that this guy had gained a lot in the tomb of the Invincible Sovereign. However, after thinking about it, Wang Mang felt relieved. This guy's strength had definitely improved a lot. After all, he had gained something from entering the tomb of the invincible sovereign. The two had entered the tomb of the invincible sovereign for a longer time than him, so their gains were definitely more than his. But what Wang Mang didn't know was that, in fact, after he left the tomb of the invincible sovereign, Demon Master and Female Sovereign didn't gain much. On the contrary, their gains were less than half of what they had gained before. Moreover, the further they went, the crueler the rules of the tomb of the invincible sovereign became. Even had gained some opportunities in extreme danger. After finally leaving the tomb of the invincible sovereign, they did gain a lot of opportunities, but they were very limited compared to Wang Mang. But after digesting the gains, their strength and foundation naturally soared by a lot. Therefore, this was also the reason why Demon Master gave Wang Mang a sense of threat from his aura. It wasn't any weaker than the former king god. Thinking of this, Wang Mang congratulated him. Congratulations on your great improvement in strength. Hearing this, the Supreme Demon Master smiled and replied, Kid, your achievements aren't low either. It can be said that you have won glory for the Sacred Emperor continent by reaching the Lesser Supreme realm. Obviously, as Wang Mang's strength increased, Demon Master's attitude towards Wang Mang had also changed. Although Demon Master's ranking wasn't as high as Wang Mang's, he was now fully confident that he could defeat Wang Mang. If he hadn't entered the tomb of the invincible sovereign, he wouldn't have the confidence to suppress Wang Mang's strength. But after entering the tomb of the invincible sovereign, his foundation and strength had reached a terrifying level. It could be said that even if he had a fight with Sikong Zhen, he was full of confidence in himself. In short, Demon Master, whose strength had soared, didn't take anyone seriously. Therefore, to put it bluntly, even if Wang Mang had become a lesser supreme realm, Demon Master didn't take him seriously at all. Hearing this, Wang Mang suddenly felt a little happy, but he still pretended to be modest and transmitted his voice. Fellow Taoist, you flatter me. Compared to fellow Taoist Demon Master, I'm still far behind. But as soon as his voice fell, Wang Mang felt a supreme pressure sweeping across the 12 cities. Moreover, this strange and terrifying supreme pressure, it surpassed any lesser supreme realm that Wang Mang knew. Chapter 925. This supreme being aura is too powerful. At this moment, even Wang Mang's expression changed as his gaze turned serious. At the same time, the Demon Master in the opposite Wang Mang also turned his head to look at the entrance of the 12 cities. Because this terrifying supreme being aura was coming from the entrance of the 12 cities. Moreover, this supreme being aura was too terrifying. Even he felt fear and trepidation, let alone Wang Mang. At the next moment, Wang Mang heard countless geniuses discussing. Is this guy Sikong Zhen the first on the monarch ranking? He's quite handsome, and his supreme being aura is too powerful. It's several times stronger than the aura of a lesser supreme being I've seen. Nonsense. He's the first on the monarch ranking. If he doesn't have the ability to suppress other lesser supreme beings, how could he be the first on the monarch ranking? Awesome to be able to see Sikong Zhen, the first on the monarch ranking. Even if I fail in the path of 10,000 realms, I'll have no regrets. Damn. As expected of the first on the monarch ranking, his aura is too powerful. Yeah, just this aura alone is even stronger than the most famous Demon Master Sovereign. After hearing the discussions of the geniuses, Wang Mang finally learned the owner of this strange, supreme being aura. It's the legendary first on the monarch ranking, so it's the Lightning King Sikong Zhen. Thinking of this, Wang Mang gradually narrowed his eyes. Because judging from the aura, to be honest, even if he used the Heaven's chosen technique to triple his battle strength, Wang Mang felt that he might be killed by this guy. This was not Wang Mang's discouraging words, but the aura represented the strength of one's strength. However, Sikong Zhen's aura was too powerful, and his aura was too strong. It was several times stronger than the clone Wang Mang had seen before. It was from this that Wang Mang could tell that even if his strength was good, as long as he wasn't that lucky, 3 times his battle strength would still be enough to kill him. Perhaps he would need to increase his combat power by 6 times to be able to contend against Sikong. As for himself, with 9 times his combat power, he was in his strongest state. Wang Mang did not know if he could kill Sikong. Right at this moment, Wang Mang saw a young supreme being in a gray cloak walking over with his hands behind his back. The prodigies on the streets of the city hurriedly made way for him, not daring to look him in the eye. Seeing this scene, the Demon Master and Sovereign also fixed their gazes on Sikong. After all, the pressure of a prime might be effective against ordinary geniuses. It wouldn't affect Wang Mang and Demon Master, who were both lesser sovereigns. At this time, Sikong seemed to have sensed the gaze of the supreme Demon Master. He slowly raised his head, and an angular face that seemed to have been carved by a knife appeared in front of him. Tiny purple lightning runes covered Sikong's handsome face. This made Sikong look very demonic. His grayish-white purple hair was like a waterfall draped over his shoulders. In addition, Sikong was also wearing a purple armor that was covered with the Law of Lightning. Lightning and electric arcs were surging all over his body, making him look very domineering. Even his sharp eyes had lightning and electric arcs flowing and flickering in them. After seeing Sikong's equipment, Wang Mang couldn't help but feel a headache and was sincerely convinced. Because the armor on this guy's body was also a defensive divine weapon with the Law of Lightning of the lower rank. This proved that this guy's accumulation of foundation was very rich. Just the gap in equipment was enough to crush him, not to mention the suppression in strength. At this time, Sikong suddenly laughed and said to the Supreme Demon Master with a light smile, "Your strength is not bad." Hearing this, the Supreme Demon Master coldly snorted and said indifferently, "Who do you think you are? You are not qualified to judge me." Obviously, Sikong's strength was not bad. It made the Supreme Demon Master feel humiliated. Therefore, the Supreme Demon Master was naturally a little angry. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang was at a loss. Why the hell did they have a conflict? He originally wanted the Supreme Demon Master to kill the cold sword of Jojo and the god of massacre with him. But looking at the situation in front of him, it was basically impossible. It would be good if the two didn't fight. Sure enough, after hearing the Supreme Demon Master's angry words, Sikong was also slightly taken aback. Then he chuckled and said, "If you don't agree with me, you can come and challenge me. I have killed a lot of little sovereigns. I don't need you." After hearing Sikong's words, the surrounding sky prides were in an uproar. For a moment, there were even more discussions. Good guy. This Supreme Demon Master is really tough. Yes, this Supreme Demon Master is indeed as arrogant as the rumors say. I think this Supreme Demon Master is a bit too arrogant. He is only ranked 11th on the Emperor board. If you use the Emperor board to rank the Supreme Demon Master's strength, you are too ridiculous. Yes, the Supreme Demon Master's strength is definitely not only ranked 11th on the Emperor board. He has entered the invincible Supreme Demon Master's tomb. His foundation is absolutely terrifying. Obviously, although many Sky Prides were not optimistic about the Supreme Demon Master, there was still a small number of Sky Prides who knew that the Supreme Demon Master was very powerful. Therefore, there were also some Sky Prides who were optimistic about the Supreme Demon Master, believing that the Supreme Demon Master might have the strength to fight against Sikong. In the next moment, under the curious and expectant gazes of the Sky Prides, without hesitation, the Supreme Demon Master said coldly, "When have I ever been afraid of you? Come and fight." After saying that, the Supreme Demon Master leaped out of the inn, turned around, and walked out of the 12 cities. Seeing this, Sikong was slightly surprised, but still chuckled and followed. Then, under the fiery gazes of the Sky Prides, the two left one after another. But there were still many Sky Prides who chose to follow out of curiosity. They were obviously unwilling to let go of such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to watch the battle. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang's face was full of helplessness. He could not invite the Supreme Demon Master. In desperation, Wang Mang could only set his eyes on the female Supreme Demon Master. Because when the Supreme Demon Master and Sikong Jun had a conflict earlier, the female Supreme Demon Master appeared. Therefore, Wang Mang immediately sent a voice transmission to the female Supreme Demon Master. Fellow Cultivator, I want to kill 2 lesser Supreme Demons. Fellow Cultivator, do you want to join me in killing them? Hearing this, the female Supreme Demon Master turned her head to look at Wang Mang. After pondering for a moment, the female Supreme Demon Master sent a voice transmission and asked, "Who are the 2 supreme martial artists that you want to kill? Is it the god of massacre and cold sword of Jojo?" Hearing this, Wang Mang was stunned for a moment, then replied, "Yes, fellow cultivator. Do you want to join me?" The next moment, the female Supreme Demon Master nodded slightly and sent a voice transmission. "Okay, I promise you." Chapter 926. After hearing the female sovereign's words, Wang Mang immediately breathed a sigh of relief and couldn't help but laugh. "If the 2 of us join hands, killing them will be as easy as flipping our hands." Hearing this, the female sovereign chuckled and said, "Not bad. Your strength has improved quite quickly. Back then, I didn't expect that you would be able to enter the lesser sovereign realm." Evidently, this female utmost exalted had a very good impression of Wang Mang. Moreover, the female sovereign could feel that Wang Mang didn't have much ambition to compete for the title of Invincible Sovereign. Back then, she could feel that Wang Mang didn't even have the belief of being invincible. Although she was also very curious about how Wang Mang broke through to the lesser sovereign realm, this also proved a problem. It was too difficult for Wang Mang to become an invincible sovereign. It was even very difficult for him to become a greater sovereign in the future. There might be a way to achieve the belief of being invincible, but a greater sovereign needed to have an invincible heart. There was no other way to take advantage of it. But did Wang Mang have the belief of being invincible? No, although she didn't know how Wang Mang broke through to the lesser sovereign realm. However, Wang Mang was destined to be a grand supremacy. He was unable to break through. Even if Wang Mang had accumulated enough foundation, he couldn't break through. This also meant that Wang Mang wouldn't have any disputes with her in the future. In fact, Wang Mang himself knew this. Therefore, Wang Mang didn't think about breaking through to the greater sovereign realm, because as long as he reached the lesser sovereign realm, his potential and achievements in the future would no longer be affected. Even if he was only at the 6th step, he could still step into the path of the myriad worlds in the future and compete for the title of Invincible Sovereign. Therefore, Wang Mang didn't have much ambition to compete for the title of Invincible Sovereign. Therefore, in the face of the female sovereign's praise, Wang Mang was a little proud, but he still chuckled and said, "It's all thanks to you. Thank you for taking care of me. My gratitude to you will always be engraved in my heart. If there is a day when you ask for my help, I will definitely not refuse." After hearing Wang Mang's solemn promise, the female supreme martial artist smiled but didn't say anything. After that, Wang Mang invited the female supreme being, and the 2 of them went to the 13 cities together. There was no other reason other than the fact that the cold sword of the 9 continents and the god of massacre were both in the 13 cities. Half a day later, Wang Mang successfully entered the 13 cities. These 13 cities were also known as the Lesser Supreme Cities. Compared to the 12 cities, Mythology City was naturally much larger. Moreover, the geniuses of the 13 cities here were very powerful. Obviously, this was the group of geniuses from the 12 cities who had entered the 13 cities. As a result, there were far too many 4th, 5th, and 6th level Supreme Realm geniuses. Similarly, after Wang Mang and the female sovereign entered the 13 cities, the 2 of them parted ways. As for why, this was because Wang Mang was afraid of alerting the enemy. If the god of massacre and cold sword of Jojo knew that he had teamed up with the female supreme being, they would definitely be extremely vigilant. Needless to say, they would definitely be extremely vigilant and might not even leave the supreme city. It was precisely to prevent this from happening that Wang Mang and the female supreme parted ways. In this way, even if Cold Sword of Jiuzhou and the god of massacre knew that he had come, the two of them wouldn't be too afraid of Wang Mang attacking them. Because if the two of them joined forces, they wouldn't be afraid of Wang Mang at all. It was worth mentioning that, after entering the 13 cities, Wang Mang sensed a total of 4 supreme being auras. In other words, most of the supremes weren't in the 13 cities. There were a total of 14 lesser supremes, excluding Sikong Zhen and the Demon Master. In addition to Wang Mang and the female supreme being, there should be 10 more lesser supremes in the 13 cities. But now, there were only 4 lesser supremes in the city, which meant that there were still 6 outside the city. Thinking of this, Wang Mang's eyes suddenly lit up. Then, Wang Mang quickly rushed towards the city. Once he figured out that Cold Sword of Jiuzhou and the god of massacre were no longer in the city, then Wang Mang would directly make a move and try to kill these 2 weaklings outside the 13 cities. As Wang Mang quickened his pace, the geniuses passing by in the city took the initiative to make way for him. Their eyes were full of awe and fear as they looked at Wang Mang. If Wang Mang was once ridiculed by the geniuses on the path of conquest in the heavens, then the current Wang Mang, no genius would dare to underestimate and ridicule him. Because just a few days ago, Wang Mang even killed the supreme genius Luoyue Wuhan. This made Wang Mang's name resound throughout the path of conquest in the heavens. It had to be said, this kind of awe and fear, Wang Mang still enjoyed it very much. This feeling of being the center of attention. But no one could ignore it. After all, the path of conquest in the heavens. In addition to pursuing the peak of the 5th stage, it was the pursuit of supreme glory, as well as leaving one's name in history and spreading through the ages. Soon, Wang Mang arrived at the 13 cities. After Wang Mang judged the aura of the supremes, he could almost judge that the 4 lesser supremes in the city, none of them were the aura of Cold Sword of Jiuzhou and the god of massacre. On the contrary, 2 of the auras belonged to the Green Emperor and the Survival Master. At this time, perhaps they had sensed Wang Mang's aura. In a tall building of an inn, the Green Emperor's figure appeared. He immediately smiled at Wang Mang and said softly, "I'm sorry, Wang Mang. Fellow Taoist, you're getting stronger and stronger. Even Luoyue Wuhan was killed by you." Obviously, the Green Emperor was also shocked by Wang Mang's strength. He originally thought that Wang Mang would be lucky if he didn't die under the joint attack of the 3 Supremes. But who would have thought that Wang Mang would still be able to kill Luoyue Wuhan under such circumstances? This was a bit brutal. At that time, he was still rejoicing at the speed of his escape. But after learning of Wang Mang's brutal battle record, the Green Emperor regretted it. This was the act of betraying a teammate. No matter where it was a shameful thing. What's more, he betrayed Wang Mang at the most critical moment and chose to run away. Sure enough, after hearing the Green Emperor's compliment, Wang Mang snorted coldly with a cold face. Although Wang Mang often betrayed his teammates, but this feeling of being betrayed, Wang Mang was naturally very unhappy. Because if this guy didn't run away, not only could he kill Luoyue Wuhan, but he even had the chance to kill the god of massacre and Cold Sword of Jiuzhou. But it was this guy's escape that made Wang Mang's efforts go to waste, and he even delayed it for more than a month. Hearing this, the Green Emperor immediately laughed brightly. He wasn't surprised by Wang Mang's reaction at all. If it were him, he wouldn't be nice to the other party in such a situation. Just as the Green Emperor was feeling regretful and thought that he was going to lose a powerful ally like Wang Mang transmitted his voice. "Fellow Taoist, I'm going to continue killing Luoyue Wuhan and the god of massacre. If you still want to form an alliance, don't abandon me again. Last time outside the desert of the 12 cities, if you hadn't escaped first, I might have succeeded in killing the god of massacre and Cold Sword of Jiuzhou." After hearing Wang Mang's words, the Green Emperor was immediately delighted. He solemnly transmitted his voice, "Fellow Taoist, don't worry. This time, I, the Green Emperor, will definitely not be the first to escape. If I run away first, I will die a horrible death. Hearing this, Wang Mang nodded his head in satisfaction, but he was sneering in his heart. After he and the female paragon finished killing the god of massacre and cold sword of Jojo, at that time, he would also kill the Green Emperor, who had lost his value. You, a dog, dare to betray me? You probably don't know how to write the word death. Chapter 927. Obviously, Wang Mang didn't have good intentions when he agreed to continue forming an alliance with the Green Emperor. This guy betrayed him. He was as unreliable as a survival master. This kind of person didn't deserve to have an ally. He was even more unreliable than him. At least he wouldn't abandon his ally without hesitation. He would at least resist and abandon his ally only when he couldn't win. But the Green Emperor wasn't dead yet. Moreover, he was still suppressing traceless moonlight. This guy still abandoned him and decisively chose to run away. This bastard had no bottom line at all. Therefore, since they met this time, Wang Mang naturally didn't mind using him for a while. In the end, he would get rid of him after he'd outlived his usefulness and kill him. It wasn't that Wang Mang was narrow-minded. It was just that he hated this kind of despicable and shameless person. Before he set off, he had said that he was a close friend of his. But when this guy ran away, he didn't treat him as a close friend at all. At this moment, the Green Emperor naturally didn't know what Wang Mang was thinking. He was still happy for Wang Mang's magnanimity. After all, if he was the one being betrayed like this, he definitely couldn't do what Wang Mang had done, grumbling a little and letting this matter slide. At this time, the Green Emperor transmitted his voice. Fellow Taoist, are you going to kill Cold Sword of Juzhou and the god of massacre now? They seem to be outside the 13 cities now. It said that a new Lesser Supreme has been born, so they went to stop them. Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately smiled. These two guys still have the mind to stop other Lesser Supreme beings. They really don't know when death is at hand. Thinking of this, Wang Mang smiled and transmitted his voice. Just in time, we can go and kill them. Moreover, this time, it's not just us. I've also found an ally. Therefore, this time, we have a 90% chance of killing the two of them. After hearing Wang Mang's words, the Green Emperor's eyes lit up. Victory was in his hands. No wonder Wang Mang wanted to kill Cold Sword of Juzhou and the god of massacre again. Thinking of this, he was completely relieved. He immediately sent a voice transmission. Fellow cultivator, if that's the case, let's go. Upon hearing that, Wang Mang nodded slightly. He quickened his pace and walked out of the 13 cities. Soon, Wang Mang arrived outside the 13 cities. The female sovereign and the Green Emperor followed closely behind him. After arriving outside the 13 cities, Wang Mang started to carefully sense the aura and power of laws left behind by the Massacre God and the Sword of 9 Provinces. After identifying the direction, Wang Mang quickly flew in one of the directions. It was worth mentioning, the environment outside the 13 cities. It was completely different from outside the 12 cities. Outside the 13 cities was a wasteland. It was like a huge battlefield in ruins. At a glance, the tombs that were as tall as hills were particularly eye-catching. Furthermore, an ominous aura of the natural laws pervaded the air. This ominous nomological aura contained death, resentment, and demonic aura. The ominous nomological aura differed according to the size of the tomb. However, this aura obviously couldn't affect Wang Mang and the other lesser sovereigns. Half an hour later, Wang Mang chased after the aura of Cold Sword of Juzhou and the god of massacre. He came to a barren and ruined battlefield. Then, before Wang Mang got close, he saw 3 figures. 2 of them were fighting fiercely. Among these 3 figures, 2 of them were the Cold Sword of Juzhou and the god of massacre that Wang Mang was familiar with. As for the one fighting with the god of massacre, it was a brand new lesser sovereign. It was worth mentioning. This brand new lesser sovereign had obviously made ample preparations for the breakthrough. He even used a pseudo 6th level magical ability. Moreover, Wang Mang could vaguely see this guy had also prepared a lot of talismans. Even when he was fighting with this brand new lesser sovereign, Wang Mang found that the god of massacre was surrounded by bad luck. But even so, the brand new lesser sovereign was still being beaten back. He couldn't resist at all. Obviously, even if he used all kinds of methods, this lesser sovereign still couldn't compete with the god of massacre. Therefore, Wang Mang didn't even doubt that if they had come a little later, this brand new lesser sovereign would have definitely died. This could be considered as indirectly being a good person. But Wang Mang didn't want to be a good person. But he also didn't want to see the god of massacre devour a lesser sovereign genius. Therefore, Wang Mang directly transmitted his voice. Let's make our move. Green Emperor, you will hold back the brand new lesser sovereign. Whether you can kill him or not will depend on your ability. As for the female sovereign and I, we will directly intercept the god of massacre and cold sword of Jojo. After hearing Wang Mang's transmission, the female sovereign directly replied, leave cold sword of Jojo to me. You can deal with the god of massacre, right? Hearing this, Wang Mang slightly nodded towards the female sovereign. In the next moment, Wang Mang no longer hid his aura and directly soared into the sky. He held the god devourer halberd tightly in his hand and shot out like a cannonball. At the same time, Wang Mang's other hand, with a wave of his hand, set up a barrier to seal off this part of the world. Wang Mang's sudden movement immediately startled Cold Sword of Jojo and the god of massacre. Even the Sky Prides, who had just broken through to Lesser Sovereign and were on the verge of death, were dumbfounded by this sudden change. After seeing that it was Wang Mang, whether it was Cold Sword of Jojo or the god of massacre, their complexions changed drastically. They roared, "It's you again. Are you really haunting us? Or could it be that you think you're capable of killing all of us?" Obviously, facing Wang Mang's attack again, the two were very angry. After all, Wang Mang couldn't kill them, yet he still tried to kill them. Could it be that they thought that they could kill them just by saving the genius who had just broken through to the Lesser Sovereign realm? If he really had such an idea, they could only say that Wang Mang was too naive. But in the next moment, something happened that made them furious. The female sovereign and the Green Emperor appeared one after another. Not only that, after the female sovereign and the Green Emperor appeared, they both strengthened the barrier. In other words, Wang Mang came prepared this time. Moreover, he brought two allies with him. So, his purpose was self-evident. It was obvious that he wanted to kill them all. Thinking of this, both Cold Sword of Jojo and the god of massacre showed panic on their faces. If Wang Mang was alone in the past, they wouldn't be afraid at all. But now, the situation was different. For a moment, the two almost didn't hesitate at all and bombarded the barrier. They couldn't let Wang Mang and the others set up the barrier firmly. Otherwise, they would be beasts in a cage, waiting to be slaughtered. Chapter 928. The two of them were sweating profusely, their faces distorted as they crazily bombarded the barrier. Wang Mang couldn't help but laugh, but he didn't care at all. He was still supporting the barrier with all his strength. Under this situation, the barrier became stronger and stronger. After all, Wang Mang had 3 lesser sovereigns supporting the barrier. Moreover, Wang Mang's strength was no weaker than Jian Jojo and the god of massacre. If he used the Heaven's Chosen technique, Wang Mang's strength would soar again. At the same time, while Wang Mang and the others were still supporting the barrier, Jian Jojo and the god of massacre, the newly born little sovereign was somewhat at a loss. He didn't know which side to help. After all, the god of massacre and Jian Jojo wanted to kill him. However, Wang Mang and the others came aggressively, as if they had bad intentions towards Jian Jojo and the god of massacre. Of course, he was familiar with Wang Mang's name. However, his familiarity with Wang Mang was from a year ago. In other words, his information stopped at the time when Wang Mang was attacked by Jian Jojo and the other two. As for how Wang Mang became a lesser sovereign and ranked 5th on the Emperor board, he didn't know. Because, in order to break through to lesser sovereign, he had been in seclusion for more than a month. Therefore, he missed the news about Wang Mang. However, Wang Mang's current strength shocked him. After all, when did Wang Mang enter the top 5 of the Emperor board? In Deer Island, the top 5 of the Emperor board was Traceless Moon's position. Could it be that after Wang Mang returned, he successfully killed Traceless Moon for revenge? And now he wants to kill Jian Jiuzhou and the God of Massacre? The more he thought about it, the more he felt it was possible. But even if he guessed this result, he didn't know who to help. Asking him to help Jian Han Jiuzhou and the God of Massacre? This was something that he could not do. After all, the two of them had tried to stop and kill him earlier, although they didn't attack together to kill him. However, their ultimate goal was obviously to hunt him down. Therefore, he definitely couldn't help his two enemies. It was precisely because of this that the current situation caused him to be in a difficult position on the spot, and he didn't know what to do. At this moment, the God of Massacre and Jian Hanjuzu roared at him, "Why aren't you attacking the barrier? Even if we die, do you think they will let you go?" Obviously, the two of them were at their wits' end. They had no choice but to rope in the new junior supreme martial artist, who they originally wanted to kill. Hearing this, the lesser sovereign's body shuddered. His eyes flickered, and in the end, he chose to attack the barrier. Clearly, he was worried that he would be hunted down as well. After all, once the barrier was sealed, his life and death were in the hands of the other party. It would be better for him to first overcome the difficulties with the two of them, blast open the barrier first, and then decide whether to stay or leave. With the addition of this new junior sovereign, the bombardment barrier and the reinforcement barrier fell into a stalemate. Seeing this scene, the female supreme martial artist and the Green Emperor frowned. Similarly, Wang Mang also grinned and said, "You guys reinforce the barrier. I will kill them." After saying this, Wang Mang's figure moved. He raised the halberd in his hand and suspended it in front of him. Then, he formed a seal with both hands and immediately used a 6th-level magical ability. Heaven's chosen technique. I am the one chosen by heaven, and the one and only chosen by heaven. As soon as his voice fell, the terrifying law of devour around Wang Mang's body condensed and shrouded him again. At the same time, the wind and clouds surged in the sky again. A terrifying black beam of the law of devour fell from the sky. Once again, Wang Mang was submerged in the black law of devour. At the same time, Wang Mang's aura began to rise steadily. In the end, Wang Mang's aura reached an unprecedented 5 times. Indeed, the current Wang Mang was an entire 5 times stronger than before he'd utilized his divine ability. At this moment, Wang Mang's terrifying law of devour swept across the world like seawater. The next moment, Wang Mang couldn't help but roar in high spirits. Then he raised the halberd in his hand and rushed toward Jian Hanjiuzhu and the other two. Seeing this scene, Jian Hanjiuzhu and the God of Massacre couldn't help but reveal a look of horror. Therefore, Wang Mang's aura at this moment was too terrifying. It had surpassed the previous Wang, Shun, and Junbubi. Because of this, how could they not be frightened? Unfortunately, they didn't have time to think too much. After seeing Wang Mang rushing toward them, they couldn't do anything. In the end, they all took out their 6th-level divine weapons and rushed toward Wang Mang. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang suddenly chuckled. He wasn't afraid of fighting against two alone. He flipped the halberd in his hand and swept it horizontally, trying to kill the two of them. However, the two of them were both lesser sovereigns. Although there was a big gap between their strength and Wang Mang's, they were still killed instantly. Among them, the God of Massacre raised his spear and blocked Wang Mang's halberd. Jian Hanjiuzhu took the opportunity to slash at Wang Mang's face. Obviously, he also knew that slashing at Wang Mang was useless. That was because Wang Mang's 100 battle godly armor was useless, unless they could break Wang Mang's 6th-level divine armor. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to kill Wang Mang. However, Wang Mang already knew Jian Hanjiuzhu's move. He shook the halberd in his hand, and the law of devour shook the long spear away. Wang Mang then raised the halberd and stabbed it at Jian Hanjiuzhu's face. Even if Jian Hanjiuzhu wanted to kill him, if he didn't dodge, Jian Hanjiuzhu would die first, because Wang Mang's halberd was too long. It was 3 times longer than Jian Hanjiuzhu's 6th-level divine weapon. Sure enough, seeing Wang Mang's counterattack, Jian Hanjuzi had no choice but to give up his attack. At this moment, Jian Hanjuzi finally knew the benefits of using a spear and a halberd. This weapon was much sharper than his so-called head of all-weapons sword. An inch longer, an inch stronger. When weapons of the same level collided, he couldn't gain the slightest advantage from Wang Mang. In the past, he could still rely on his exclusive divine weapon and extremely skilled swordsmanship to suppress Wang Mang. However, ever since Wang Mang had replenished his foundation, he was simply suppressing him. Even if he joined forces with the God of Massacre, Wang Mang could also calmly deal with them. At the same time, he was also constantly counterattacking. This caused them to feel more despair the more they fought. Moreover, they soon discovered that they were evenly matched. It was even shorter than the last time. It only lasted for less than an incense stick's worth of time. Wang Mang gradually gained the upper hand and began to completely suppress them. Moreover, as time passed, the enchantment that the female sovereign and the Green Emperor had strengthened was becoming stronger and stronger. At this moment, the originally weak enchantment was now half a meter thick. This was the place where Jian Hanjuzi and the God of Massacre felt the most despair. This meant that they had already become turtles in a jar. Chapter 9:29. Could it be that we are really going to die here today? This was what Jian Jiuzhou and the God of Massacre were thinking at this moment. Obviously, when the barrier was completely formed, their hearts sank to the bottom. At the same time, at this moment, a long sword appeared in the female sovereign's hand. She then directly charged towards Jian Jiuzhou. Seeing this scene, Jian Jiuzhou's face sank. However, he still braced himself and went forward to fight, because he'd already seen through Wang Mang's idea. Obviously, he wanted to divide them up and eat them. But so what if he saw through it? They had no other way. They could only brace themselves and face it. At the same time, the Green Emperor also laughed out loud. Then, he charged toward the new lesser sovereign in high spirits. Obviously, he couldn't defeat Jian Jiuzhou and the God of Massacre. However, he believed that he could still bully a newly promoted lesser sovereign. At this point, the battlefield was completely divided into three. Only the God of Massacre was left to face Wang Mang. To be honest, at this moment, the God of Massacre's mood was very complicated. His face was as ugly as it could be. If he could defeat Wang Mang, his face wouldn't be so ugly. But the problem was, could he defeat Wang Mang? He couldn't. He and Jian Jiuzhou together, they were still suppressed by Wang Mang. Now that he had lost the cooperation of Jian Jiuzhou, he even had a premonition that he might be about to die. Looking at the situation of being enveloped by bad luck, Yi Zichen thought. The God of Massacre couldn't help but smile bitterly in his heart. If he had known this would happen, he should have prepared some bad luck talismans and good luck talismans. However, in the past, he was too confident in his own strength. He gradually gave up on talismans and other extremely expensive auxiliary tools. However, he never thought that one day he would need them but didn't have them. At the same time, Wang Mang didn't waste any time. He once again raised the halberd in his hand and charged forward. Because Wang Mang didn't even bother to use his divine ability. There was no other reason. Wang Mang felt that even if he didn't use his divine ability, he could still kill Jian Jiuzhou. His battle strength had already formed a crushing momentum. As expected, without the help of Cold Sword of the Nine Regions. Every time a massacre god received a blow from Wang Mang, it was extremely dangerous. He could die at any moment, because the difference in strength between the two of them was too great. Therefore, Wang Mang acted very casually. However, this casual attack of his caused the God of Massacre's face to contort. His forehead was covered in sweat. Seeing this, Wang Mang mocked with a playful expression. "What's wrong? I haven't gone all out yet. You can't?" In the face of Wang Mang's mockery, the God of Massacre's face turned gloomy and he did not say a word. Because he didn't dare to be distracted. Although Wang Mang was mocking him, he didn't dare to be distracted. However, the halberd in his hand was becoming fiercer and fiercer. In the end, he persisted for another incense stick of time. The god of massacre could not help but beg for mercy. "Fellow Taoist, can you let me go? I'm willing to pay any price." Clearly, the current Wang Mang was too powerful. Relying on the halberd in his hand and the absolute suppression of his strength, the god of massacre was unable to breathe. At this moment, there were several deep wounds left by the halberd on his chest. Blood was flowing all over his body. Even the god of massacre's hand, which was holding the halberd, was trembling. The web between his thumb and forefinger was already covered in blood. Hearing this, Wang Mang chuckled and said with an indifferent expression, "Even a little sovereign will beg for mercy. If you beg for mercy, how can you continue to move forward? Without an invincible heart and invincible momentum, how can you become an invincible sovereign?" After hearing Wang Mang's words, the god of massacre's face turned pale, and he said, "After this, I will withdraw from the battle of the myriad worlds. Fellow Taoist, please be magnanimous and let me go." Hearing this, Wang Mang nodded and said with a playful tone, "I see. So that's how it is. But why should I let you go?" After saying this, Wang Mang sneered and raised the halberd in his hand again, attacking the god of massacre. Seeing that Wang Mang didn't have the slightest intention of letting him go, the god of massacre changed from begging for mercy to cursing. For a moment, all kinds of unpleasant words came out of his mouth. Even though the injuries all over his body were getting more and more serious, he still struggled and cursed, because he knew that if he gave up struggling, he would die. Even if he died, he would continue to struggle. Unfortunately, this didn't last for long. Ever since Wang Mang's killing intent had been aroused, the god of massacre had basically suffered significant injuries every time he attacked. In the end, Wang Mang's halberd attacks became fiercer and fiercer, not giving the god of massacre any chance to breathe. Then, Wang Mang successfully seized the opportunity and pierced the god of massacre's chest with the halberd in his hand. Obviously, the god of massacre wanted to defend himself, but unfortunately, he was still half a beat too slow. Therefore, as blood splattered everywhere, the god of massacre's face was full of pain. He lowered his head and looked at the halberd in front of his chest, the light in his eyes dimming. In the end, the god of massacre opened his mouth to say something, but in the end, his primordial spirit completely collapsed, and he lost his vitality. Until now, another junior sovereign had easily fallen in the hands of Wang Mang. In the next moment, Wang Mang looked at the halberd in his hand that was devouring the enemy's blood and essence. Wang Mang hurriedly pulled out the halberd, and his upper body transformed into a giant python. He opened his bloody mouth and swallowed the god of massacre. Then, Wang Mang took the 6th-level divine weapon left behind by the god of massacre with a clear conscience. In the next moment, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced ding. "Congratulations, host. Successfully devoured a 9th Heaven Divine Emperor, Junior Sovereign." Ding. "Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 10 billion energy points." Ding. "Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 1,000 talent points." After hearing the system's voice, the corners of Wang Mang's mouth rose, and he nodded with satisfaction in his heart. At this time, Wang Mang looked at Jian Jiuzhou, who was not far away. At this moment, Jian Jiuzhou's situation was also very miserable. He was being suppressed by the female supreme. Obviously, the female supreme's foundation was indeed stronger than Jian Jiuzhou's. After all, the female supreme had gained something in the invincible supreme's tomb. In addition to that, there was another important factor. It affected Jian Jiuzhou's performance. That was the scene of Wang Mang suppressing the god of slaughter from start to finish, almost killing him. This simply made Jian Jiuzhou uneasy and unable to fight in peace, especially after seeing the god of massacre completely fall in the hands of Wang Mang. Jian Jiuzhou's heart was even more flustered, and his mentality was somewhat broken. At this moment, Jian Jiuzhou couldn't help but scream. It turned out that the moment Jian Jiuzhou was distracted, the female supreme immediately seized the opportunity and wanted to behead him. But Jian Jiuzhou still reacted. Therefore, his head was not cut off, but his arm had been cut off. He directly lost an arm, but even so, it was not over. The female supreme once again held her sword and charged forward. She tried to take advantage of the situation to chase after him and kill him. In his panic, Jianzhuzhou held his sword with one hand and stared at the female supreme vigilantly, not daring to be distracted again. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang's eyes turned sharp. Holding the halberd in his hand, he whistled out and charged towards Jianzhuzhou. After hearing the commotion, Jianzhuzhou completely collapsed. He could no longer focus on the battle, because Wang Mang was charging towards him. At that time, no matter how focused he was on the battle, it would be useless. Once Wang Mang made his move, he would attack together with the female supreme. He would definitely not be able to hold on for more than the time it took to drink a cup of tea. There would definitely be no accidents. Therefore, under the combination of fear and anger, Jianzhuzhou could not help but roar in anger, "Don't come over!" Chapter 9:30. Hearing this, Wang Mang was taken aback at first, and then his figure steadied. When he saw Jianzhuzhou's frightened and angry look, Wang Mang couldn't help but laugh. He could see the naked fear and despair in Jianzhuzhou's eyes. Obviously, at this moment, he, who was incomparably powerful, had completely destroyed all of his opponent's beliefs. After all, the god of massacre, who was stronger than him, had been easily killed by Wang Mang. Therefore, Jianzhuzhou was completely scared out of his wits by Wang Mang. It was normal for him to be afraid of Wang Mang. If it were anyone else, they would also be afraid. Those who were stronger than him had been easily killed by Wang Mang. When it was his turn, it was normal for him to be completely scared out of his wits. After all, even the god of massacre, who was a junior sovereign, had been defeated by Wang Mang to the point of begging for mercy. How could Jianzhuzhou be any better than the god of massacre? The one with the best mentality was none other than Traceless Moonlight, who had fallen in the hands of Wang Mang. At least, in terms of mentality, he was much better than the god of massacre and Jianzhuzhou. Unfortunately, even if Jianzhuzhou was scared out of his wits, Wang Mang had no intention of letting him go. Therefore, under Jianzhuzhou's frightened gaze, Wang Mang once again roared out. After seeing Wang Mang's arrival, Jianzhuzhou was completely defeated. His face twisted with malevolence as he charged at Wang Mang like a madman. "Even if I die, I won't let you have an easy time." As he spoke, the law of sword around his body began to expand crazily. Obviously, Jianzhuzhou planned to self-destruct. Even if he died, he wouldn't let Wang Mang have an easy time. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang suddenly sneered. The next moment, he raised the halberd in his hand and struck out with all his strength. Then, the devouring halberd swept out like a sharp sword, as fast as lightning. In the end, before Jianzhuzhou could reach Wang Mang, his body was pierced through by Wang Mang's halberd, and he was directly sent flying. In the end, Jianzhuzhou was directly nailed to the boundary by Wang Mang's halberd. At the same time, the aura of the law of sword around Jianzhuzhou, whose face was full of pain, began to dissipate like a deflated balloon. He raised his head with great difficulty, and then looked at Wang Mang, and roared with resentment, "I'll wait for you below." After that, Jianzhuzhou's life's life. Wang Mang nodded in satisfaction when he saw this scene. Then, Wang Mang waved his hand, and the God Devourer halberd flew to his side. Then, Wang Mang was faster speed, faster. However, the female supreme martial artist speed was even faster. She directly sucked the frozen sword of 9 provinces into her mouth. At the same time, Jianzhuzhou's was A, A's was S was U's. Then, the female supreme rolled her eyes at Wang Mang and said softly, "Don't be too greedy. You want to take all the benefits?" Hearing this, Wang Mang smiled brightly. He was already mentally prepared. He had roped in the female supreme to attack together, so he was destined to share the profits. Moreover, Wang Mang had also seen the previous situation. Even if the female supreme persisted, she would still be able to kill Jianzhuzhou. She might also be able to kill Sword Chill of the 9 prefectures, because the two of them had not reached the point where they could compete with their divine abilities. If they were to compete in divine powers, Jianjiuzhou would definitely not be able to defeat the female supreme. Based on Wang Mang's understanding alone, the female sovereign already possessed no less than 2 level 6 divine abilities. At this moment, the system's voice sounded in Wang Mang's mind, frowny-faced Ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully completed the revenge mission. Ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 100 billion energy points. Ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained Immortal Emperor-level treasure chest X1. Ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained Immortal Emperor-level blind box X1. Ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 6th lower-grade good luck card X1. After listening to the system's voice, Wang Mang couldn't help but be overjoyed. Not bad. Not bad at all. The harvest this time was really big. Just as Wang Mang was in good mood, the Green Emperor in the distance couldn't help but shout excitedly, "Fellow Taoists, come and lend me a hand." Hearing this, Wang Mang and the female supreme were stunned and looked sideways. At this moment, the Green Emperor was indeed suppressing the little sovereign. However, there was no crushing situation. He only had the upper hand. This also proved that there was a problem. Either the Green Emperor was too weak, or the strength of this newly promoted little sovereign was indeed not bad. In fact, this little sovereign's strength was indeed not bad. If it weren't for Wang Mang's influence, he really wouldn't be afraid of the Green Emperor in front of him, because the Green Emperor was indeed stronger than him, but there was still a gap if he wanted to kill him. Not only was he well aware of this, but the Green Emperor was also well aware of this. However, the Green Emperor didn't care at all. So what if he couldn't suppress this guy? His two allies had already killed Jianjiuzhou and the God of Massacre. He just needed to stall for time. Wait for Wang Mang and the female supreme to come over. Then they would be able to help him easily kill this newly promoted little sovereign. This was also one of the reasons why the Green Emperor was so calm, because his allies were all very powerful. Thinking of this, the Green Emperor couldn't help but sneer at the newly promoted little sovereign. So what if your strength is not bad? Chapter 9:31. In fact, the Green Emperor felt his scalp go numb and a chill run down his spine. Obviously, the Green Emperor wasn't a fool. He understood the conversation between the two almost instantly. Thinking that Wang Mang was about to kill him after he had outlived his usefulness, the Green Emperor couldn't help but feel terrified. In the end, under the playful gaze of the newly promoted junior sovereign, the Green Emperor looked at Wang Mang in horror and pleaded with a trembling voice, "Fellow cultivator, you can't do this. We're allies." Hearing this, Wang Mang's eyes were full of disdain as he sneered with his hands clasped behind his back. "Who do you think you are to be my ally? When you were in danger, you abandoned me and ran away. You still have the face to mention the word ally to me?" Hearing Wang Mang's words, the Green Emperor's face turned pale. He hurriedly explained, "Fellow cultivator, I had no choice at that time. If I had known that you were so powerful, I wouldn't have left you behind." Hearing this, before Wang Mang could speak, the newly promoted junior sovereign sneered, "Is this the reason you abandoned your ally? You're simply a villain with no credibility. I've never understood how a person like you became a junior sovereign. Now, it's natural for this fellow cultivator to kill you. There's no need to pay attention to fellow cultivators when dealing with villains. After all, you were the one who was heartless first. This fellow cultivator is just giving you a taste of your own medicine." Hearing the words of a newly promoted junior sovereign, Wang Mang's face became a lot happier, revealing a magnanimous look. "Not bad. This kid is very self-aware. He's very good at reading people's expressions. He's obviously flattering me, but he said it in a very righteous manner." Even Wang Mang felt that it made sense when he heard this, because this was the truth. This guy was heartless first, so he couldn't be blamed. There is no such thing as killing a donkey after it had outlived its usefulness. Thinking of this, Wang Mang immediately stood with his hands behind his back and said coldly, "Green Emperor, what else do you have to say? Back then, you did this to me. Now, I'll use the same method to deal with you. Is there a problem?" After hearing Wang Mang's words, the Green Emperor was naturally able to tell how intense Wang Mang's killing intent was. Especially Wang Mang's cold gaze, his killing intent was hard to conceal. Thus, in his fear and anger, the Green Emperor cursed out loud. "You hypocrite! If you want to kill me, just say it. Why do you have to be so sanctimonious? I just abandoned you and ran away. I didn't kill you. Now you want to kill me to the last man. Get rid of me as soon as I've outlived my usefulness. How dare you talk about benevolence, righteousness, and morality?" Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately grinned and said, "These words were meant for you to hear, so that you can die without regrets. However, if you hadn't abandoned me and fled, I wouldn't have been able to do anything to you." At this point, Wang Mang sighed with emotion. "But you said that you abandoned your ally. If you had stayed away from me, I wouldn't have been able to find a chance to kill you. But you idiot, you still took the initiative to come to me in the 13 cities. You didn't give me any reason to let you go." After hearing Wang Mang's words, Green Emperor's face was full of regret. Obviously, he was very regretful now. He had been careless back then. That's right. Wang Mang was also a lesser supreme like him. How could he be so magnanimous? If Wang Mang was really so good-tempered, magnanimous, and easy to offend, how could Wang Mang become a lesser supreme? If he was really so good-tempered, easy to bully, and magnanimous, it was unknown whether Wang Mang could survive until now. At the same time, looking at Green Emperor's regretful expression, the corners of Wang Mang's mouth rose slightly. He took out the halberd in his hand and attacked Green Emperor. Seeing this, Green Emperor couldn't help but panic. He quickly took out his 6th-level divine weapon. Then, he braced himself and went to meet Wang Mang. However, if one looked carefully, they would find that Green Emperor's eyes were full of fear. After all, Traceless Fallen Moon, Cold Sword of the 9 Provinces, and the God of Massacre were all killed by Wang Mang. Therefore, Green Emperor was naturally afraid of Wang Mang. In the next moment, he saw Wang Mang's halberd slashing at him. Green Emperor's face was pale. He hurriedly activated the laws with all his strength and raised the saber in his hand to block it. However, at this moment, Wang Mang's halberd suddenly turned from slashing to sweeping. Clang! Along with the sound of weapons colliding, Green Emperor, who had blocked Wang Mang's halberd, was sent flying by the terrifying shock wave. However, in the next moment, Wang Mang rushed forward and slashed the halberd in his hand at Green Emperor again. Green Emperor's face was full of fear. He hurriedly raised the saber in his hand to block. Clang! Clang! The weapons collided several times. Without exception, Green Emperor blocked all of them with difficulty. However, in the next moment, he faced Wang Mang's halberd attack again. Green Emperor's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly raised his saber to block again. However, Wang Mang's speed this time was several times faster than before. Finally, there was a slashing sound. The halberd in Wang Mang's hand chopped off Green Emperor's head in the air. Scalding blood spilled out of the wound. Similarly, after losing his head, Green Emperor, the power of laws in his body was rapidly spreading. At the same time, his primordial spirit and vitality were also rapidly dissipating. After a moment, Green Emperor's corpse fell from the sky powerlessly. Seeing this, Wang Mang's upper body transformed into the body of a giant python and swallowed it into its bloody mouth. At the same time, Wang Mang casually put away the 6th-stage divine weapon that Green Emperor had obtained into his storage space. To be honest, Wang Mang was actually quite curious about how this guy had obtained a 6th-stage divine weapon. After all, 6th-stage divine weapons were really not easy to obtain. Even this newly promoted Lesser Supreme didn't have a 6th-stage divine weapon. Of course, this was a good thing for Wang Mang. Every 6th-stage divine weapon was a rare treasure. Until now, Wang Mang had obtained 3 six-stage divine weapons. Thinking of this, Wang Mang couldn't help but feel happy. At this moment, the system's voice sounded again. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully devoured a 9th Heaven God Emperor, Lesser Supreme. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 10 billion energy points. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 1,000 talent points. After hearing the system's voice, Wang Mang was in a good mood. Not bad. Not bad at all. After sorting out the gains this time, it would definitely increase his accumulation by a lot. At this moment, the system's voice sounded again. Ding! The host's current situation has been detected. The host is given the following mission to choose from. Mission 1. You have already reached Lesser Supreme, and there is no possibility for you to advance any further. Deal with all the matters of the path of war and head to a new world. Mission time, obtained upon completion. Mission reward, 100 billion energy points. Immortal Emperor-level treasure, chest, X1. Mission 2. You have already reached Lesser Supreme, and there is no possibility for you to advance any further. Deal with all the matters of the path of war and head to a new world and join a low-grade 6-stage force. Mission time, obtained upon completion. Mission reward, 200 billion energy points. Immortal Emperor-level blind box, X1. Immortal Emperor-level treasure, chest, X1. Mission 3. You have already reached Lesser Supreme, and there is no possibility for you to advance any further. Deal with all the matters of the path of war and head to a new world and join a mid-grade 6-stage force. Mission time, obtained upon completion. Mission reward, 300 billion energy points. Immortal Emperor-level blind box, X1. Immortal Emperor-level treasure, chest, X1. Chapter 932. After listening to the system's voice, Wang Mang was stunned. Although he knew that he might not be able to reach the Grand Supreme Realm, he didn't expect the system's answer to be so straightforward. It was almost telling Wang Mang by name. It was impossible to become a Grand Supreme Realm. Thinking of this, Wang Mang felt a little regretful, but it was within his expectations. Thinking of this, Wang Mang began to ponder about the system's missions. The 3 missions issued by the system, without exception, were all to go to the new world of the 6-color teleportation stone. This world was obviously a 6th-order world, and there were legendary 6th-order powerhouses here. Of course, the difficulty of the mission was not too high for Wang Mang. He just had to join a force. Wang Mang admitted that although he hadn't reached the 6th order, however, if he joined a low-tier 6 organization, it should be very simple and easy. Thinking of this, Wang Mang made a choice in his heart. Then, Wang Mang said in his heart, System, I choose the 3rd mission. The next moment, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have successfully chosen the mission. Please complete the mission as soon as possible to get the reward. After listening to the system's voice, Wang Mang nodded secretly, then raised his hand and began to bombard the barrier. Since he was preparing to leave the path of myriad worlds, Wang Mang naturally had to strive to maximize the benefits. For example, he had a lot of good things now, including his own. He had a total of 3 king tokens. Now that he was ready to leave, he could naturally sell this king token. He could even sell it for a good price. Thinking of this, after blasting open the barrier, Wang Mang then said to the female Supreme Realm and the newly promoted Junior Supreme Realm with a chuckle, The 2 of you, I'm going to auction the king tokens before leaving the path of myriad worlds. If the 2 of you are interested, you can also come to the 13 cities to participate in the auction held by me. Yes, Wang Mang was going to auction all 3 king tokens. But at this moment, the ancient true god's angry voice sounded. Wang Mang, if you want to auction, then auction off the other king's medallions. If I'm auctioned off by you, it's the same as failing to choose a master. Hearing this, Wang Mang was stunned for a moment. Then, he sent a message to Wang Mang. Haven't I already reached the lesser sovereign realm? How can you say that you failed in choosing a master? The true deity of Ancient's angry voice resounded. You can simply wait until the War of the Infinite Worlds is over and not participate at all. When the time comes, the monarch ranking will consider you to have given up on the path to conquer the heavens. I won't be affected by it. After hearing this, Wang Mang was stunned for a moment. After thinking for a while, he nodded and agreed. In any case, this fellow was the one who chose him as its master, so it was quite useful to him. Therefore, Wang Mang naturally couldn't get rid of the donkey after it had outlived its usefulness. At this moment, the female sovereign's heart skipped a beat after hearing Wang Mang's words. He guessed that Wang Mang must have a king's decree in his hands. After all, the 10 supreme martial artists had been born a long time ago. It was normal for him to have a king's decree, because even Jian Jiuzhou had a king's decree, which fell into her hands. Wang Mang killed the god of massacre and traceless moonlight, so he should have at least 2 king's tokens in his hands. After a long silence, the female sovereign suddenly said, I believe there should be a lot of people interested in the king's decree. Moreover, as time passes, more and more lesser sovereigns will be born. The higher the value of the king's decree in your hands, you can wait a while before selling it. After listening to the female sovereign's words, Wang Mang was stunned for a moment. Then, he thought about it carefully and realized that it was true. The path to conquer the heavens had only been open for a little more than a year. At present, there weren't many powerful lesser sovereigns. In this case, it would be difficult for him to sell it for a good price. Thinking of this, Wang Mang suddenly frowned. Should he wait a while before selling it? Anyway, he already had a king's decree. He could return to the path to conquer the heavens at any time. Thinking of this, Wang Mang made a decision in his heart. This thing could be sold at any time. Moreover, as long as the path to conquer the heavens hadn't ended, he could sell the king's decree at any time. Fellow Taoist words are reasonable. I will sell this king's decree later. After saying that, Wang Mang nodded to the female sovereign and cupped his hands. Fellow Taoist, see you next time. After saying that, Wang Mang directly left and flew into the distance. After arriving at a desolate and uninhabited land of ruins, Yi Zichen and the others arrived at a desolate and abandoned place. Wang Mang took out the 6-colored teleportation stone. Obviously, there was no mission for him to continue staying in the path to conquer the heavens. Therefore, Wang Mang was ready to go to a new world. To be honest, Wang Mang was still very curious about the new Rank 6 world. Rank 6. In the past, the Great Desolate World was only at the peak of Rank 5. Therefore, it was a world of a higher level than the peak of Rank 5. A Rank 6 world, Wang Mang was naturally very eager and curious. In the next moment, Wang Mang activated the 6-colored teleportation stone without hesitation. Then a door appeared out of thin air and sucked Wang Mang into it. Ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. In the heavens and realms, ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland was also an extremely tyrannical world. Every Rank 6 powerhouse in this world. They were all overlords in the heavens and realms. Because the biggest difference between a Rank 6 world and a Rank 5 world was a Rank 6 world sealed off a Rank 5 world. In other words, every Rank 5 world in a heavens and realms nearby, there was a Rank 6 world that ruled and monitored the Rank 5 world in order to prevent the Rank 5 world from escaping their control. Because a Rank 6 world had a ruling position over a Rank 5 world. Moreover, once a Rank 5 powerhouse tried to break through to Rank 6, they would be suppressed and destroyed by the Rank 6 world powerhouse. For example, the former Rank 6 world Chaos World. In the end, Pangu and the 3,000 Chaos Demon Gods were born. In order to create a new world. In order to create a Rank 6 world. Even if it was a pseudo-Rank 6 world. Unfortunately, it failed in the end, because once a Rank 6 world was destroyed, it would be suppressed and annexed by the other Rank 6 worlds. Because to let a Rank 6 world sublimate to a higher level, in order to do so, one had to possess sufficient world law origins. Therefore, once a rank 6 world was destroyed, it was impossible to not drop in level. As for why, the other rank 6 worlds, to plunder the other worlds, origin, and to suppress the rank 5 worlds? Because a rank 6 world had a formal Great Tao establishment. For example, a rank 6 low-grade world. The number of rank 6 powerhouses allowed to be born was very limited. A rank 6 world could have the following rank 6 powerhouses. Rank 6 low-grade world. 1 late-stage rank 6 powerhouse. 10 mid-stage rank 6 powerhouse. 100 early-stage rank 6 powerhouse. Rank 6 middle-grade world. 2 late-stage rank 6 powerhouse. 20 mid-stage rank 6 powerhouse. 200 early-stage rank 6 powerhouse. Rank 6 high-grade world. 3 late-stage rank 6 powerhouse. 30 mid-stage rank 6 powerhouse. 300 early-stage rank 6 powerhouse. Rank 6 top-grade world. 10 late-stage rank 6 powerhouse. 100 mid-stage rank 6 powerhouse. 1000 early-stage rank 6 powerhouse. Chapter 9:33. This was the mandatory requirement of a rank 6 world. In other words, under the situation where the rank 6 world was fully established, unless there was a vacancy. Otherwise, even if one had the foundation and qualifications, they would not be able to break through, to put it bluntly. So what if you had the qualifications and qualifications? You would still be unable to break through, unless there was a vacancy. Only then could they break through. Similarly, ancestral realm heaven wasteland was the same. As to why there was such a rule, because the rank 6 world had the Great Tao establishment. The Great Tao establishment meant that this rank 6 world had already obtained the recognition of the Great Tao. This was equivalent to the world having an identity card where the Great Tao was. There was no exception. If one's accumulated foundation was sufficient, they could go to other rank 6 worlds and try their luck to obtain a spot. At the same time, at this moment, ancestral realm heaven wasteland, northern desolate land, in the endless demon-suppressing mountain range that was millions of kilometers long, Wang Mang suddenly appeared in a forest. After opening his eyes, Wang Mang looked around. This was a forest that seemed like a primitive forest. Something worth mentioning was, Wang Mang discovered that the power of laws here was too huge. In this brand new world, the power of laws was flowing. Is this a rank 6 world? After looking around for a while, Wang Mang could not help but mutter to himself. After looking around for a while, Wang Mang suddenly heard a commotion coming from afar. Wang Mang's heart skipped a beat. He immediately rushed towards the direction of the commotion. Very soon, Wang Mang arrived near a forest. At this moment, there were several God Emperor black-robed figures chasing after a young man and woman. Comparatively, these two young man and woman were not weak. They had similarly reached the middle stage God Emperor realm. It's just that they were slightly weaker than these 5 black-robed figures, because these 5 black-robed figures had all reached the middle stage God Emperor realm. No matter if it was in terms of strength or numbers, they far surpassed this young man and woman. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang could not help but sigh. This was a winner in life who won at the starting line. Look at how young they were, and they had already reached the God Emperor realm. Moreover, the 2 celestial the Arch realm used were using the power of laws. From this, it could be seen how much of an advantage they had. One had to know that even the saints of the primordial world were only proficient in using the power of the heavenly law. However, the people who were born and raised here had an innate advantage, something that a Tier 5 world could never hope to achieve. Thinking of this, Wang Mang could not help but feel a little envious and complicated. He thought that he had a great advantage. But after coming to a rank 6 world, Wang Mang realized that there were too many people with better lives than him. He was a native of this place. His starting point was even higher than the countless living beings in the universe. It was so high that countless living beings would never be able to touch it, even if they were to sink into eternal oblivion. At this moment, Wang Mang pondered for a moment, then slowly said, "All of you stop." Following Wang Mang's angry roar, the 5 black-clothed men and the young man and woman were all stunned. For a moment, the 7 of them stopped in their tracks and hurriedly looked sideways at Wang Mang. When they realized that they could not see through Wang Mang, the black-clothed men and young men and women present all had solemn expressions. Not being able to see through meant that the other party's strength far exceeded their own. This was common knowledge that all living beings in a rank 6 world knew. Even if Wang Mang restrained his aura to the extreme, they also did not dare to act rashly. After pondering for a moment, the 5 black-clothed, middle-aged men all cupped their hands at Wang Mang and said, "Greetings. We're from the Black Fiend sect." Hearing that, Wang Mang's heart suddenly moved, but he had some doubts in his heart. He had just come to this rank 6 world and naturally did not know. What was the situation with this so-called Black Fiend sect? But Wang Mang guessed that this Black Fiend sect should not be simple. After all, the members of the Black Fiend sect had all reached the God Emperor realm. Then, the possibility of the Black Fiend sect powerhouses having rank 6 powerhouses was very high. Thinking of this, Wang Mang did not act rashly. He turned to look at the other young man and woman and asked indifferently with his hands behind his back, "What about you? Who are you? And why are they chasing after you?" Hearing that, the young man and woman looked at each other, hesitated, and said softly, "Greetings. We're from the northern wilderness, 30 countries. I'm the prince of the Rion country. As for why they're chasing after me," speaking of this, the young man paused and smiled bitterly. "Because the disciple of the Black Fiend sect's great elder was born in the Rion country, and his family was later wiped out. After he knew that I was the prince of the Rion country, he targeted and humiliated me in every possible way and tried to kill me several times. When the Black Fiend sect was driven into a corner, I could only leave the Black Fiend sect, one of the 3 major sects in the northern wilderness continent." Hearing that, the black-clothed, middle-aged man immediately swung his sleeves and sneered. "How dare you? A traitor is a traitor. What reason do you have to quibble?" Saying that, the black-clothed man who was the leader looked at Wang Mang and cupped his hands. "Senior, please don't interfere. It's our Black Fiend sect's business." Hearing that, the beautiful woman hurriedly begged Wang Mang, "Senior, please save us. Senior, please save us. As long as Senior can save us, we are willing to do anything for Senior." Hearing that, Wang Mang was about to speak. Suddenly, a terrifying aura appeared. It swept over from the distant sky. This also caused the sky above the demon subduing mountain to change color. The power of the laws of heaven and earth also formed a violent storm that swept over. This immediately made Wang Mang's face change drastically. This aura was too strong. It was much stronger than the aura of the Thunder King Sikong Jun. This proved that the strength of the newcomer had definitely reached the 6th stage. That was because even Wang Mang felt abnormally oppressed by this oppressive might. After all, Wang Mang was a 5th stage Lesser Supreme. With such strength, although he hadn't reached the 6th stage, he wasn't much weaker than the 6th stage. The next moment, the figure of a young man in a white robe appeared in front of him. This young man in a white robe looked very handsome. His handsome face was full of cold arrogance, and the white cloak behind him fluttered in the wind. He stood proudly in the air, looking down at everyone present. The next moment, there was a plop sound, only to see the 5 black-clothed, middle-aged men of the Black Fiend sect. And the young man and woman, one after another, knelt down on the ground and shouted respectfully, "Greetings, Lord Tian Huang." Hearing that, the young man standing proudly in the air had his hands behind his back. He looked down at Wang Mang and said in a cold tone, "Why don't you kneel when you see me, a slave smuggled from the lower realm?" Chapter 9:34. After hearing the young man's words, Wang Mang was stunned. What the F***CK? There was such a rule in a rank 6 world. One had to kneel and bow when seeing a rank 6 expert. After seeing the people around him kneeling on the ground, Wang Mang knew that there was an 80 to 90% chance that such a rule really existed. Or perhaps this guy was special and belonged to a powerful force. Thinking of this, Wang Mang's eyes flickered and his expression became uncertain. Although this guy's words made Wang Mang very angry and even made him want to kill him, Wang Mang did not dare to act rashly. Instead, he guessed this guy's identity. How did this guy know that he sneaked in from the outside? Could it be that the Rank 6 World's inspection was so strict? How long had he been in? At most, less than half an hour. In the end, a Rank 6 expert came knocking on his door. Therefore, before he figured out the rules, Wang Mang naturally did not dare to act rashly. After taking a deep breath, Wang Mang forcibly suppressed the anger in his heart and pretended to be puzzled. Fellow Taoist, although your strength is far stronger than mine, it is not enough to suppress me. Why must I kneel and bow to you? After hearing Wang Mang's words, the white-robed young prodigy was enraged. His face was filled with malevolence as he rebuked. Presumptuous! You cheap slaves smuggled in from the outside world. You really don't know what's good for you. As he spoke, a Rank 6 divine weapon had already appeared in his hand. At this time, the other 5 black-robed, middle-aged men from the Black Fiend sect all looked at Wang Mang with a face full of ridicule. If Wang Mang was from the native world and had such powerful strength, they would naturally be wary. This was because they weren't sure if Wang Mang had reached the 6th rank. But they did not expect Wang Mang to be a cheap slave smuggled in from the outside world. For a moment, they did not have the slightest respect for Wang Mang. Their eyes were even filled with disdain. Because cheap slaves smuggled in from the outside world could not escape the clutches of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. The Heaven Wasteland Palace was the largest power in the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. Behind him stood the strongest expert of the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. Therefore, the people of the Heaven Wasteland Hall were existences that the people of the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland did not dare to provoke. They were equivalent to the existence that maintained the order of the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. Their power was monstrous, and no force dared to provoke them. Therefore, many forces would even invite the Heaven Desolate Palace to participate in conflicts that could not be resolved. Therefore, the people of the Heaven Wasteland Palace were naturally very arrogant. In an instant, the 7 people from a Black Fiend sect began to speak. It's best if you don't struggle. Obediently follow the Lord of the Heaven Wasteland Palace and leave. That's right. No one can contend against the people of the Heaven Wasteland Hall in the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. If you know what's good for you, then don't resist. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences of angering Lord Tian Huang. At this moment, the young man and woman who had previously asked Wang Mang for help also looked at Wang Mang with disdain. Among them, the good-looking woman couldn't help but mutter in a low voice, "Bai Shui is so happy. I thought it was a 6th-order powerhouse. I didn't expect it to be a cheap slave smuggled in from the outside world." Obviously, Wang Mang's identity had aroused everyone's disgust and disdain. Previously, they had even called Wang Mang a senior. Now, not to mention a senior, they had directly changed to calling him a cheap slave. Hearing this, Wang Mang's face was extremely gloomy. This white-robed young genius was indeed stronger than him. Moreover, he was a 6th-order powerhouse. It was fine that he had been humiliated like this. But who did these guys think they were? They were nothing but 5th-order powerhouses. How dare they humiliate him like this? In his rage, Wang Mang could no longer restrain the anger in his heart. He looked coldly at the white-robed youth in the sky and mocked with disdain. "What? Do you think you can kill me? Who do you think you are? Are you worthy? When you were a 5th-order powerhouse, you were just a mediocre ant. Now that you've become a 6th-order powerhouse, you're still an ant. You want me to kneel? Are you out of your mind? Who do you think you are?" After hearing Wang Mang's words, the 5 people from the Black Fiend sect, as well as the young man and woman present, at that moment, they were all looking at Wang Mang with dumbstruck expressions on their faces. Obviously, they had never dreamed that Wang Mang would be so cruel. Not only did he not pay attention to Lord Tian Huang, but he also directly cursed at him. For a moment, they were collectively dumbfounded. "Big brother, you're a cheap slave from the outside world. Where did you get the courage to curse at Lord Tian Huang? Even if you want to die, you don't have to do this, right?" Similarly, Li Taijian was also dumbfounded. He also did not expect this cheap slave to be so arrogant. After coming back to his senses, Li Taijian was immediately furious. In fact, his face was somewhat distorted in anger, because Wang Mang's words had completely torn open his scar. The Fifth Order powerhouse did not participate in the Battle of the Heavens. He was indeed very regretful, but he did not dare to face it, because the Fifth Order powerhouse's participation in the Battle of the Heavens was too tragic. Basically, it was a 10 out of 10 death ratio. Therefore, he kept telling himself in his heart, he was from the Sixth Order world. He did not have to participate in the Battle of the Heavens between the Fifth Order slaves at all. But in fact, was that really the case? No. People from the Sixth Order world. Many of them participated in the Battle of the Heavens. But the result would not be too good, even the world they were in. There were also prodigies who participated in the Battle of the Heavens. It was just that he did not know what was going on now. However, under anger, Li Taibai had already developed a strong killing intent towards Wang Mang. He was just a cheap slave who was smuggled in from the outside world. So what if he killed him? Thinking of this, Li Taijian said with a ferocious face, "Ant, today, I'll let you see who the ant is. Even if your strength is infinitely close to the Sixth Order, you're still an ant." After saying that, Li Taijian waved the long sword in his hand, and the terrifying sword law turned into sword qi and swept out. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang's face suddenly changed, and he immediately retreated. Rumble. The next moment, this was a terrifying sword law, sword qi. He even directly slashed out a several 100,000-meter deep ravine where Wang Mang was at. Similarly, if the people of the Black Fiend sect and the young man and woman did not run fast enough, they would probably have died. But for Li Taijian's behavior, they were angry, because Li Taijian did not treat their lives as humans at all. When he made his move earlier, they could see it clearly, but they only dared to curse in their hearts and did not dare to make a sound. At the same time, after seeing Li Taijian make his move, Wang Mang's face was full of killing intent. The next moment, Wang Mang made a gesture with both hands, preparing to use the Heaven's Chosen technique. Because Li Taijian's strength at the Sixth Order could be said to be very tyrannical. If he did not use the Heaven's Chosen technique, he really would not be able to compete with him. At this moment in the distant sky, a voice shouted angrily. "Li Taijian, stop." The ancestor of Tian Huang ordered. "You want to see this fellow Taoist?" Chapter 9:35. This sudden voice resounded between heaven and earth, from the pressure and laws contained in the voice. The person who came was obviously a rank 6 powerhouse. This also caused Wang Mang, who was preparing for a big battle, to stop. From this sentence, he could hear a lot of things. This so-called ancestor of Tian Huang should be a big shot. Moreover, he was a very powerful big shot. In the next moment, Li Taijian's actions proved Wang Mang's guess. Li Taijian, who was about to attack, suddenly froze and immediately stopped. The long sword in his hand was also put down. At the same time, in the distant sky, a green-robed figure instantly swept over, carrying the terrifying aura of a rank 6 powerhouse. It caused the surrounding power of the laws of heaven and earth to surge wildly, and the sky and earth changed color. In the next moment, an immortal-like old man with a head full of white hair and black hair appeared in the sky. He had a kind smile on his face and looked very kind, giving people the feeling of an old grandfather. After the green-robed old man appeared, Li Taijian immediately cupped his hands respectfully and said, "Greetings, Elder Wang." Hearing this, Elder Wang smiled slightly and nodded. "All right, there's no need to catch him. The ancestor of Tian Huang wants to see this young friend." Hearing this, Li Taijian's face was full of unwillingness. He looked coldly at Wang Mang, then turned into a stream of light and flew away without saying a word. As for Wang Mang, although he did not understand the situation, he still carefully cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, senior." Yes, this old man was really amazing. His aura was too terrifying. It was not something that Li Taijian could compare to. even if he did not release his pressure, the aura that he inadvertently revealed. However, it also made Wang Mang feel a burst of fear and trepidation. This proved that this old thing, oh no, this old man's strength was very terrifying. Therefore, Wang Mang naturally did not dare to challenge him. Hearing this, the old man smiled and waved his long sleeve. "Young friend, follow me." In the next moment, Wang Mang flew directly to the old man's side uncontrollably. This kind of method also caused Wang Mang to be inexplicably terrified. This was definitely not inferior to a 6th level finger creation. One must know that the previously Tai Jian, but there was no such terrifying method. He waved his sleeves and brought him over. The mastery of the spatial laws was simply too high. Thinking of this, Wang Mang put on an obedient look and pretended to be puzzled. "Senior, may I know why the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland wants to see me?" Hearing this, the old man stroked his white beard and chuckled. "Just follow me. I don't dare to guess the thoughts of the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland." As he spoke, the old man left with the wind, leaving behind the 5 dumbfounded people from the Black Fiend sect, as well as the completely dumbfounded young man and woman. Clearly, they did not expect that Wang Mang, who was about to die, would be taken away by the people of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Now, they could only hope that Wang Mang's fate would be the worst. The worse, the better. Otherwise, he would offend an existence that was suspected to be a 6th order powerhouse. In the future, their lives would definitely not be easy, although they also had a 6th order powerhouse behind them. But if they offended a 6th order powerhouse, they were simply not worth the 6th order powerhouse behind them to take action for them. At the same time, Heaven Wasteland Domain. Heaven Wasteland Domain was located in the sky above the Eastern God Continent, Southern Barbarian Continent, Western Demon Continent, and Northern Wasteland Continent. To put it bluntly, Heaven Wasteland Domain stood above the 4 continents. As to why it stood above the 4 continents, this was a bit like the Purple Cloud Palace in the World of Chaos, since it could stand at the top of the world. This in itself represented a transcendent status. This also made Wang Mang even more apprehensive. The ancestor of Heaven Wasteland Domain. Could it be a big shot of the ancestral domain of Heaven Wasteland Domain? Yes. In the process of hurrying along with the old man, Wang Mang also learned some information about this world. For example, the name of the world and the division of the 6th order powerhouses. The 6th order powerhouses were divided into 3 realms. They were Early 6th Order, Sector Lord Realm. Middle 6th Order, World King Realm. Late 6th Order, Sovereign Realm. The so-called Sector Lord Realm was a 6th Order world. In a 6th Order world, as long as one reached the 6th Order, one could barely be considered the master of a 6th Order world. Of course, this referred to barely. Only the 6th Order Sovereign Realm was the true master of a 6th Order world. However, this realm was temporarily out of Wang Mang's reach. This was because Wang Mang hadn't even reached the 6th rank yet, not to mention the Sovereign Realm. At this time, the kind-looking old man chuckled. "We're here. The Heaven Wasteland Hall is in front. Little friend, you must be careful when you speak. Do not anger the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland." Faced with the reminder of the kind-looking old man, Wang Mang was a little surprised. This proved that the old man had a good impression of him. Thinking of this, Wang Mang immediately nodded. "Thank you for the reminder, Elder." Hearing this, the old man smiled and led Wang Mang into the majestic and solemn Heaven Wasteland Hall. It was worth mentioning, Wang Mang discovered that this so-called Heaven Wasteland Hall was not guarded by experts. But after thinking about it, Wang Mang was relieved. The expert who lived in this Heaven Wasteland Hall. It was very likely that he was the strongest in the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. Such an expert stayed in the Heaven Wasteland Hall. How could there be an expert who dared to act rashly? After entering the Heaven Wasteland Hall, Wang Mang was even more surprised to discover this was a pitch-black hall. It was very dark inside, giving people a gloomy feeling. Moreover, the laws in this hall were also the laws of darkness. "Good fellow, Could it be that the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland also mainly cultivated the laws of darkness? It just so happened to be the same as the Supreme Demon Master? Although he had a lot of thoughts in his mind, Wang Mang was still very reserved. Following the old man, he gradually went deeper into the Heaven Wasteland Hall. Wang Mang finally saw a throne piled up with countless white bones and skulls. On this throne, shrouded by the laws of darkness, a figure was shrouded by the laws of darkness. The figure's face and body could not be seen clearly. However, his pair of scarlet eyes were extremely bright. Moreover, this terrifying aura of the laws of darkness spread. Wang Mang even felt his primordial spirit and true spirit trembling. At this time, the white-haired old man in a green robe hurriedly bowed respectfully. Old servant Qing Feng greets the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland. Ancestor of Heaven Wasteland, this young friend is the person you want to see. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang's heart trembled. He hurriedly cupped his hands and bowed respectfully. Junior Wang Mang greets the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland. The next moment, a hoarse voice like that of hell sounded. Qing Feng, you can go. Hearing this, the old man in a green robe hurriedly bowed respectfully and left. For a moment, in the dark Heaven Wasteland Hall, only Wang Mang, who was completely at a loss, was left. At this time on the throne, the voice of the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland sounded again. Young friend, don't be afraid. I asked you to come here because I want to know some information. Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately breathed a sigh of relief and hurriedly said respectfully, Senior, please feel free to ask. This junior will definitely tell you everything he knows. The next moment, the voice of the Lord of Heaven Wasteland sounded again. But after hearing the question of the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland, Wang Mang could not help but feel his hair stand on end. Chapter 9:36. Little friend, you should have just quit the expedition path, right? Hearing this, Wang Mang's body trembled, and he quickly nodded. Yes, Senior. This kind of news couldn't be concealed at all. Everyone who has some understanding of the path of war in a myriad worlds. Basically, they all knew about the path of conquest. Therefore, Wang Mang simply nodded and admitted it. The next moment, on the throne, the voice of the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland sounded again. Little friend, why did you choose to quit the expedition path after becoming a junior sovereign? If I'm not wrong, the path of battle in the heavens and realms has just opened, right? Little friend, now that you've reached the lesser sovereign level, your name should be well known even in the path of conquest of all heavens. Hearing this, Wang Mang smiled brightly. Senior, you must be joking. It's just an undeserved reputation. Moreover, this junior also knows that I can't compete for the invincible sovereign, so I simply gave up on the expedition path. After saying that, Wang Mang looked uneasily at the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland on the throne, who was shrouded in the law of darkness. The next moment, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland's voice sounded again. However, the question this time caused all the hair on Wang Mang's body to stand on end. It seems that my guess is correct. Little friend, have you ever met the god of massacre in the expedition path? Damn it, the god of massacre. Big brother, are you serious? Is the god of massacre your descendant? Oh my god, I can't be so unlucky, right? The god of massacre is already dead. Why did such a powerful father appear? For a moment, Wang Mang's whole body became a little stiff, and he only felt a chill on his back. If one looked carefully, one would even find that there were faint drops of sweat on Wang Mang's forehead. After all, no matter who encountered this, they would collapse or even panic. It was already very good that Wang Mang didn't pee his pants on the spot. However, even if Wang Mang didn't pee his pants, his current state wasn't much better. After all, the god of massacre's blade was still in his storage space. If the god of massacre was truly a descendant of the ancestor of Tian Wang, then the god of massacre would be a great threat to Tian Wang. Then, if Wang Mang was exposed, his fate would be extremely miserable. At this time, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland on the throne also noticed the abnormality. His voice was as cold as hell. What's wrong, little friend? Don't worry. Even if you kill him, I won't blame you. After all, once you step onto the path of conquering the myriad worlds, the outcome is already determined. Either you succeed or you die trying. Hearing this, Wang Mang's heart suddenly moved, and he secretly sneered. You old bastard, you still want to insult me. If I'm a fool, I'll believe you. Evidently, Wang Mang did not believe what the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland said at all. Thus, Wang Mang said helplessly, Senior, I am indeed acquainted with the god of massacre. Not only do I know him, but I also have a grudge with him. After hearing Wang Mang's words, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland on the throne suddenly said with a slightly interested voice, Little friend, tell me about it. After hearing the words of the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland, Wang Mang secretly breathed a sigh of relief. This old bastard was indeed lying to him. If he said that he didn't know him earlier, this old bastard saw through his abnormality and would never believe what he said. Thinking of this, Wang Mang said with a helpless face, Senior, there's something you don't know. Before the myriad worlds, conquering the myriad worlds officially opened, there are 10 lesser sovereigns in the 12 cities. These 10 lesser sovereigns occupy the top 10 of the monarch ranking. Among them, the massacre god is ranked 6th. In addition, his allies are the 5th and 8th of the monarch ranking. When the 3 of them join forces, even the top 3 of the monarch ranking can't do anything to them. Moreover, every time a genius breaks through to lesser sovereign, they will be killed by the 10 lesser sovereigns. Basically, at least 18 of the 20 new lesser sovereigns will be killed by them. Back then, when I was breaking through to the next realm, I encountered the god of massacre's 3-man alliance. If I didn't happen to run into the 2nd and 3rd of the monarch ranking, I'm afraid I would have died under their alliance. Speaking of this, Wang Mang had a look of lingering fear. It didn't seem like he was faking it at all. After all, Wang Mang was indeed telling the truth and not making it up. Of course, some of the factors were changed by Wang Mang, but such a 90% truth and one lie. This was the easiest way to convince people. Sure enough, after listening to the grudge between Wang Mang and the massacre god, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland on the throne faintly laughed. This kid has learned to be smart. He actually knows how to rope in allies to fight. When he was in the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland, he was very arrogant and looked down on everyone. After hearing the laughter of the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland, Wang Mang secretly thought that it was a close call. Fortunately, I'm quick-witted. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'll be dead. After all, a rank 6 powerhouse. How powerful is a rank 6 powerhouse? To be honest, Wang Mang also didn't know. But what made Wang Mang feel incomparably fortunate was that, sure enough, even a rank 6 powerhouse couldn't deduce the battle path of the myriad worlds. Otherwise, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland would have known that the massacre god had died in his hands. Thinking of this, Wang Mang couldn't help but feel his scalp go numb. Damn, I actually encountered such an unlucky thing. This was a very small possibility. He actually encountered all of them. Just how unlucky was he? One had to know how big the myriad worlds were. I'm afraid even the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland doesn't know about it. But it just so happened to be so coincidental. I actually came to the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. The problem is that I just killed their descendant. To tell the truth, this kind of coincidence, it's really too scary. Wang Mang even thought about it. If there were other rank 6 worlds he could go to, he would immediately go to the other rank 6 worlds. Otherwise, he wouldn't have a good ending. Wang Mang didn't think that this matter could be hidden forever. Just as Wang Mang was thinking of a way out in his heart, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland chuckled again. Young friend, what happened after that? What happened after that? Hearing this, Wang Mang was suddenly speechless. What happened after that? After that, of course, my strength increased greatly. Then, I killed the 3 of them one after another. The 3 of them were all dead. What happened after that? They were all killed by me. Of course. In that case, Wang Mang was just thinking about it in his heart. Then, Wang Mang sighed helplessly. After that, I managed to escape when the god of massacre, Wu Hung of the fallen moon, and Jin Hinge were fighting against the second-ranked Wang Shun and the third-ranked Wu Bubi. If it wasn't for my good luck, I'm afraid I would have died in the hands of the Massacre God when I just broke through to Lesser Sovereign. Because whether it was the Massacre God, Traceless Moonfall, or Cold Sword of Jojo, they were all very powerful. In a 3 against 2 situation, even if the second and third Emperor of the Emperor rankings joined forces, they still couldn't do anything to the 3 of them. After escaping, I was actually scared out of my wits. In order to survive, I left the Myriad Worlds Expedition Road. Chapter 9:37. Speaking of this, Wang Mang paused and looked up at the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland on the throne. At this time, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland let out a slightly surprised chuckle. I didn't expect this kid to have finally matured. Now, he's even making a name for himself on the path of conquering the universe. Hearing this, Wang Mang was speechless. He had even made a name for himself. I'm the one who's making a name for myself in the universe, okay? As for the god of massacre, I've already killed him. If it weren't for your strength being too strong, I'm afraid I would have told you the truth long ago. Of course, on the surface, Wang Mang had a complicated look on his face as he sighed. The god of massacre's trio became lesser sovereigns too early. The 10 lesser sovereigns broke through very early and had an innate advantage. As a result, the newcomers who broke through to lesser sovereign were basically surrounded and killed by them. Only those who were lucky or had just broken through to lesser sovereign have the chance to survive from their hands. Speaking of this, Wang Mang helplessly said, "That's all I know. But according to my guess, the god of massacre should be competing for the position of invincible sovereign." Hearing this, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland chuckled. "Very good. I understand. Little friend, you want to stay in the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland, right?" Hearing this, Wang Mang quickly nodded and said, "Yes, senior." This junior also entered the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland by chance. This junior still doesn't know anything about the 6th stage and is still looking for a direction to break through. Hearing this, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland was silent for a while and then chuckled. "I'll help you clear up your doubts. There are actually several ways to break through to the 6th stage. When all the basic conditions for breaking through to the 6th stage are met. The first way, you can choose to enter a 6th stage world. In a 6th stage world, when there are still vacancies in the number of 6th stage powerhouses, you can smoothly break through to the 6th stage. Of course, let me put it this way. In a 6th stage world, it's very difficult to encounter vacancy. Too many people want to break through to the 6th stage. But you are different from ordinary people. After all, you reached Lesser Sovereign at the 5th stage. It can be said that you have no problem breaking through to the 6th stage. Because even if other 6th stage world rejects the natives of the 5th stage world, you will definitely be accepted by the 6th stage world. The second method, you can refine a pseudo-rank 6 world, but this is much more difficult than the first method. Let me give you an example. In the heavens wasteland world, I will not. In fact, if the origin of a rank 6 world is greatly damaged, I will not hesitate to leave the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland to attack and plunder it, or of the God world, Sovereign, B, or God of the Heaven. That's because the nearby rank 6 worlds will definitely not allow you to refine a pseudo-rank 6 world. Within the range of a rank 6 world's rule, any world is their private property. The third way, join the 7th stage world. Legend has it that the 7th stage world will not accept any creature below the 7th stage world. Of course, if you are a 6th stage lesser sovereign, you may be qualified to enter or be accepted by the 7th stage world. However, a 6th stage lesser sovereign may not be accepted by the 7th stage world. Unless you are an invincible sovereign, the powerhouses of the 7th stage world will take the initiative to find you. So, you don't have to think about the third way. You're not qualified. At this point, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland didn't say a word. But Wang Mang, after listening to the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland's words, Wang Mang couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Was it so difficult to reach the sixth stage? What made Wang Mang feel even more suffocated was that it would be even harder to sneak into the seventh-stage world in the future. The only way to be accepted by the seventh-stage world was to be an invincible sovereign. Even a sixth-stage lesser sovereign may not be accepted by the seventh-stage world. Those heaven's prides who didn't become sovereigns, as well as the cultivators from all over the universe. Wouldn't they have no hope of reaching the seventh stage in this lifetime? Seeing Wang Mang's shocked look, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland chuckled. Are you shocked? A sixth-stage world has already closed the door to the fifth-stage world. If you can't reach the lesser sovereign level, even if you are a fifth-stage mythical heaven's pride, my ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland will not accept you either. Hearing this, Wang Mang couldn't help but feel his mouth and tongue dry, and asked with a bitter face, Senior, which eighth-stage world? Hearing this, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland fell into silence. After a long time, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland's voice sounded. Eighth stage? I don't know. Eighth stage has never accepted any powerhouses. Powerhouses at the peak of the seventh stage have no chance to enter the eighth stage world. If a sixth stage world closes the door to a fifth stage powerhouse, there is still a gap. Similarly, a seventh stage world closes the door to a sixth stage powerhouse, but there is still a chance. But an eighth stage world completely blocks the way forward for a seventh stage powerhouse, and even the door is welded shut. Speaking of this, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland paused and chuckled. Junior, why do you have to think so far ahead and bring trouble to yourself? Not to mention you, even I don't have any chance to step into the seventh stage. However, if I can reach the peak of the sixth stage in the end, I will be satisfied. Hearing this, Wang Mang's heart sank. The future path was more difficult than he had imagined. After all, this old thing was the master of the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland, the master of the sixth stage world. But in the face of breaking through to the seventh stage, the despair in his words could be said to be undisguised. At this time, Wang Mang couldn't help but ask again, Senior, what are the basic conditions for breaking through to the sixth stage? Hearing this, the Lord of Heaven Wasteland slowly said, Every existence that has reached the fifth stage has basically sent their true spirit into the river of heavens, the river of space, the river of time, the river of karma, and the river of life, these 5 great Tao rivers. The basic condition of the sixth stage is to safely send the true spirit into the river of great Tao. Then find a sixth stage world and find a way to get a vacant position to enter the sixth stage. Hearing this, Wang Mang's eyes suddenly lit up. In that case, his conditions were almost there. The accumulation of energy value was almost there. The only problem now was the so-called vacant position. Thinking of this, Wang Mang's eyes suddenly turned, and he said with a fawning face, Senior, can this junior get a vacant position in your world? Chapter 9:38. After hearing Wang Mang's words, the Lord of Heaven Wasteland, sitting on the throne, spoke in a hellish voice. You have to fight for it yourself, but let me warn you first. If one day you want to leave this world, even if you obtain a place in this world, I will also take back the place you obtain, because once you obtain a place and leave the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland, for the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland, this is a loss of the power of origin laws, because once I am unable to make up for the loss, the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland will always lack a place. After hearing this, Wang Mang's heart suddenly moved. There was such a rule. Evidently, Wang Mang had understood the words of the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland. To put it bluntly, after he occupied a place, once he left the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland, then the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland would lack a place in the lower 6th grade. Thinking of this, Wang Mang hurriedly promised, Senior, don't worry. If I really have to leave one day, I will definitely give up the place. Hearing this, the voice of the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland sounded again. Are you sure? When you leave, you will lose a place in the 6th grade. Once you leave the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland, you will become an unregistered person of the 6th grade. At that time, the experts of the heavens will kill you once they discover you, because killing a 6th grade unregistered person can obtain unimaginable benefits. Hearing this, Wang Mang still solemnly promised, "Senior, don't worry. Junior will definitely not disappoint you." After hearing Wang Mang's promise, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland slowly nodded. "Good. Go out. Join the Heaven Wasteland Palace. As for the place, you'll have to fight for yourself." After entering the Heaven Wasteland Palace, even if you can reach the 6th grade, I will acquiesce to your existence. With that, the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland gently raised his hand and waved at Wang Mang. The next moment, Wang Mang was swept out by this terrifying law of darkness. After being pushed out of the Heaven Wasteland Hall, Wang Mang saw Elder Qing Feng standing outside the desolate Heaven Hall. At this moment, he looked at Wang Mang with a smile and nodded. "Little friend, it seems that you have gained the recognition of the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland. In the future, little friend is also considered a member of the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. Let's go. I'll bring you to the Heaven Desolate Hall and introduce it to you." Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately cupped his hands respectfully and said, "Thank you, Senior." Hearing that, Old Qing Feng lightly smiled, then left with Wang Mang. At the same time, Elder Qing Feng also introduced to Wang Mang. "Little friend, which Heaven Wasteland branch palace do you want to join?" The Heaven Wasteland Palace has 4 great halls. They are the East God Continent Hall branch, the South Barbarian Continent branch, the West Devil Continent branch, and the North Wasteland Continent branch. Each hall has a Heaven Wasteland Palace Master and 4 Heaven Wasteland emissaries. After thinking for a while, Wang Mang looked at Elder Qing Feng and asked respectfully, "Senior, which side do you think I should join?" Elder Qing Feng was slightly stunned. He looked deeply at Wang Mang and suggested, "I suggest that you join the North Wasteland Continent Branch Palace. Although the North Wasteland Continent Branch Palace is the weakest, it is also the most suitable side for you. But at the same time, this place is most suitable for you. The East God Continent, which is so powerful, is not suitable for you." Hearing this, Wang Mang did not hesitate and said, "Senior, I'll listen to you. Senior, I'll listen to you and join the Northern Wilderness Continent." Hearing this, Elder Qing Feng smiled and nodded. "Good. I'll bring you to the North Wasteland Continent." After saying that, Elder Qing Feng grabbed Wang Mang's shoulder. His speed instantly increased as he turned into a streak of light and fled. Half an hour later, Wang Mang was led by Elder Qing Feng. They finally arrived at the North Wasteland Continent Branch Palace. Compared to the Heaven Wasteland Palace that stood proudly in the sky, the North Wasteland Continent Branch Palace, it looked dignified, but it could not be compared at all. It was worth mentioning that, after Wang Mang arrived at the Branch Palace, he immediately felt the powerful aura of several rank 6 experts. Moreover, this place was heavily guarded. Even the experts standing guard outside the door were late divine emperors. After entering the Branch Palace, Elder Qing Feng brought Wang Mang to a large hall. Compared to the Heaven Wasteland Palace, which was dark and dignified, this Branch Palace was bright and dignified. After arriving at the depths of the Branch Palace, Wang Mang also saw it. On the throne in the middle of the Branch Palace, an extremely sloppy old man was holding a wine jug and drinking until his face was red. Even when this incomparably sloppy old man saw Wang Mang and Old Man Qing Feng, he merely cast an indifferent glance at them and ignored them. Elder Qing Feng did not care at all. He smiled and said, "This is the Heaven Wasteland Continent Branch Palace. This is the person who is approved by the Heaven Wasteland ancestor. He is now officially part of your North Wasteland Continent Branch Palace." Hearing this, the sloppy old man waved his hand impatiently and said, "Leave him here." Elder Qing Feng smiled and nodded at Wang Mang, then turned and left. This caused Wang Mang to feel awkward. He didn't know how to respond. The next moment, the sloppy old man shouted, "Men, take this kid away. Whoever wants him can take him away." Not long after, a few rank 6 experts walked in from outside the hall. One of them was Li Taijian, whom Wang Mang was familiar with. He was looking at him coldly. As for the other 3 rank 6 experts, one of them was a young man, while the other 2 were middle-aged men. But their aura, without exception, had all reached rank 6. After shooting a glance at Wang Mang, the corners of Li Taijian's mouth curled into a sinister smile. "Hunyuan Palace Master, leave this kid to me. I'll take good care of him." Hearing this, Wang Mang's heart sank. This bastard obviously wanted to mess with him. How could he not know this guy's little trick? But at this moment, another young man spoke. "Hunyuan Palace Master, leave this kid to me. I'm worried that some villains will avenge private grudges." After saying this, the young man deliberately glanced at Li Taijian. Seeing this, Li Taijian was furious and said, "Chulong, what do you mean?" Hearing this, the young man put his hands behind his back and laughed lightly, ignoring the furious Li Taijian. Seeing this, the sloppy old man said lazily, "Kid, you're quite popular. Well, you can choose one to follow." Hearing this, Wang Mang said without hesitation, "I'll follow this fellow cultivator." After saying this, Wang Mang walked toward the young man who had a conflict with Li Taijian. Seeing this, Li Taijian's face turned pale, and he looked at Wang Mang with killing intent. Seeing this, the young man laughed and said, "Ha ha, good, come with me." After saying this, the young man waved at Wang Mang and left in a good mood. Seeing this, Wang Mang hurriedly followed. Before he left, he saw Li Taijian's angry and twisted face. When they passed by each other, Wang Mang directly sent a message to Li Taijian and sneered, "Bastard, wait until I break through to rank 6, I'll kill you." Chapter 9:39. After hearing Wang Mang's arrogant voice transmission, Li Taijian's face was livid, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. He looked at Wang Mang fiercely. Obviously, he did not expect Wang Mang to be so arrogant and dare to threaten him. Although he did not know how Wang Mang had managed to get into the Heaven Wasteland Palace, he would not give up easily. However, he would not let the matter rest so easily. Putting everything else aside, just the fact that Wang Mang dared to threaten him was enough to make him lose all face. He absolutely could not tolerate this. Watching Wang Mang leave, Li Taijian snorted coldly, then cupped his hands and said, "Hunyuan Palace Master, I'll take my leave." With that, Li Taijian flung his sleeves and left angrily. At the same time, after leaving the Heaven Wasteland Palace in the northern wilderness continent, this follower, Chulong, walked in front with his hands behind his back and said without looking back, "I'm going to send you to the Black Domain. Your duty is to maintain order. In addition, I'll tell you that the Black Domain is one of the territories under my jurisdiction. After you go to the Black Domain, keep a low profile. It's the most chaotic place in the northern wilderness continent. If anything happens to you, I won't be able to help. I hope you'll take care of yourself. In addition, take 2 more patrol envoys with you later. Here, this is your order of appointment." While speaking, Chulong took out a golden letter and handed it to Wang Mang. Hearing this, Wang Mang took the golden letter with a blank face. "What the hell? After recruiting me, you sent me away again? The ancestor of Heaven Wasteland sent me to Old Man Xing Feng. Old Man Xing Feng sent me to the Hunyuan Palace Master in the northern wilderness continent. Now, the Hunyuan Palace Master sent me to Chulong. After taking over Chulong, you sent me to this so-called Black Domain? Am I King football? You kick me one by one?" For a moment, Wang Mang was very unhappy. But at this time, Chulong seemed to have noticed Wang Mang's displeasure. He immediately crossed his arms and chuckled. "You think I'm just brushing you off? If you hadn't seen the ancestor of Tian Huang, do you know what happens when you barge into the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland from the outside world? Basically, all of them died. No, even death is easier said than done. According to the normal procedure, Wang Mang will send you to the All-Celestial Prison. Or perhaps I'll send you to the law crystal mine to mine, and you'll never be able to make a comeback. Speaking up to here, Chu Long immediately stood with his hands behind his back and said, a Tier 5 wanted to sneak into a Tier 6 world. How could it be so easy? Unless you have reached the 6th order and have your own quota, a 6th order world will not accept you. Or perhaps, if you reach the 6th step and don't have a slot, the 6th step world will accept you. The positions of the slots here are collectively known as identity tokens in the Tier 6 world. Moreover, I see that your strength is not bad. It can be said that you're close to the 6th stage. Let's think of a way to get the identity token as soon as possible. With the identity token in the Tier 6 world, you will be unimpeded in the Tier 6 world. Establishing a sect or establishing a dynasty, family, and so on will be recognized by the Tier 6 world. In addition, after reaching the Black Domain, as long as you can complete the mission that I assign, I will also lend you a hand. Speaking up to here, Chu Long patted Wang Mang's shoulder, his face full of appreciation. After all, Wang Mang was a Tier 5 Lesser Supreme after all. Such an achievement, he could not compare at all when he was at Tier 5. This also meant that Wang Mang's future achievements were much higher than his. If possible, he could rope him into his family. Their Chu family, including him, had 2 early-stage Tier 6 powerhouses. Such strength was already very good. In the Northern Wilderness continent, it also belonged to a force. One had to know that there were not many slots in the current ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. Heaven Wasteland was a Tier 6 low-grade world. The limit he had was 1 late-stage Tier 6, 10 mid-stage Tier 6, and 100 late-stage Tier 6. In other words, except for the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland, the current Tier 6 powerhouses in the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. The entire ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland did not exceed 110, deducting the powerhouses of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. The Tier 6 slots in the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland. There were less than 100. No, it was not bad to have 80. The 80 were then divided among the 4 continents. Finally, it was counted down. It was not bad for a continent to have 20 Tier 6 powerhouses. Therefore, their family had 2 Tier 6 powerhouses in the Northern Wilderness continent. Their strength was naturally not weak. One had to know that in the ancestral realm of Heaven Wasteland, a Tier 6 powerhouse represented a Tier 6 force. 1 to 3 Tier 6 powerhouses represented a third-rate force, Tier 6 low-grade force. 4 to 6 Tier 6 powerhouses represented a second-rate force, Tier 6 mid-grade force. 7 to 9 Tier 6 powerhouses represented a first-rate force, Tier 6 high-grade force. Back to the topic. Under Chu Long's lead, Wang Mang came to the main hall of Chu Long's mansion. It looked very dignified. Just the number of Tier 5 God Emperor powerhouses guarding the door reached more than 100. Seeing such a lineup, Wang Mang could not help but smack his lips. This was the foundation of a Tier 6 world. Tier 5 powerhouses, even God Emperor powerhouses, were as common as the hairs on a cow. They were completely worthless. One had to know that in a Tier 5 world, the number of God Emperor powerhouses was very limited. It was not like a Tier 6 world, where there were many Tier 5 powerhouses as subordinates. After walking into the main hall mansion, Chu Long ordered the guard, gather the subordinates, all of them. The 2 late-stage God Emperor Imperial bodyguards respectfully replied, yes, sir. Subsequently, a few minutes later, Wang Mang saw that there were more than 300 subordinates all gathered in the main hall. Seeing this, Chu Long nodded to Wang Mang. Pick 2 people to bring to the Black Domain. Also, this seat will introduce you to the ranks of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Village level, city level, country level, world level. Each level is divided into 2 levels, big and small. For example, small village level, big village level. Small city level, big city level. Small country level, big country level. Small world level, big world level. After listening to the arrangement of the positions, Wang Mang was dumbfounded. Damn, This was a little too trendy. It was no different from the political arena on Earth. Thinking of this, Wang Meng could not help but ask, Sir Chulong, what is the rank of the Black Domain? Hearing this, Chulong was stunned for a moment. You are at the small city level. This seat is at the big city level. I don't have the authority to authorize or dismiss a position of the same level. Moreover, your position is at the small city level. This seat has to write a report and send it to the big country level elder for approval. However, you should not have a big problem. This seat sees that you have a good relationship with Elder Qingfeng. The position should be approved. In addition, you have the authority to authorize and dismiss a position at the small village level. As for the big village level, write a report and send it to the Northern Wilderness Palace. In the future, you must remember, if you have the chance, do not offend Elder Qian. It is fine even if you offend Li Taijian, but you must not offend Elder Qian. Chapter 940. After hearing Chu Long's words, Wang Meng nodded and said, Thank you, my lord. Chu Long waved his hand and said, Go. Pick two. The highest position here is the village level centurion. You can pick one, the other can only pick a small village level. You can also pick those without a position, and those who are strong can also pick. Hearing that, Wang Meng immediately nodded. Then, he began to choose from the several hundred guards. In the end, Wang Meng picked a middle-aged skinny man who looked very cold. This middle-aged skinny man was from the small village level, but he was very strong, reaching the peak ninth heaven of Emperor God. As for the other person, Wang Meng also picked a middle-aged burly man from the small village level. He looked like a burly man with a simple mind and well-developed limbs. Lord Chulong, I'll pick these two. Wang Meng looked at Chulong and said. After hearing that, Chulong glanced at Wang Meng in surprise. He did not expect Wang Meng to pick two small village-level ones instead of the large village-level ones. This was somewhat out of his expectations. After all, the large village level could arrange higher positions. For example, the transfer of positions of the same level. One must know that although there were many organizations of the same level, the power and position were different. For example, the small city-level position that he arranged for Wang Meng was the highest position in the small city-level organization. Controlling the power of a region was a bit similar to a town mayor or a city lord. Chulong nodded and waved his hand at the two indifferently. Okay, you two bring your lords to the dark region to take up your positions. The two small village-level men cupped their hands respectfully and said, Yes, Lord Chulong. After that, the two middle-aged men said respectfully to Wang Meng, Lord, please follow us. After hearing that, Wang Meng nodded slightly and left in front of the two. Oh no, he was going to take up his position. After leaving the vicinity of the Heaven Wasteland Branch Palace, Wang Meng and the other two began to fly slowly. You don't say. The Northern Wilderness was so huge. There were 4 regions in the Northern Wilderness continent. They were the 30 nations of the Northern Wilderness, each occupying an area. Then, the 10 dynasties of the Northern Wilderness occupied a region. Then, the 3 major sects of the Northern Wilderness occupied half of the area. Among them, the most powerful were the 3 great sects of the Northern Wilderness. After them were the 10 dynasties of the Northern Wilderness and the 30 nations of the Northern Wilderness. And the Black Domain was in the middle of these 3 regions. The reason why the Black Domain was called the Black Domain, it was because the place was dirty and dark. It formed a zone that none of the 3 regions were willing to govern. That was because all the evil people of the Northern Barren region were gathered here. For example, the traitors of the 3 great sects, the heinous criminals of the 30 kingdoms, and the wanted criminals of the 10 dynasties. These vicious and desperate people had all gathered in the Dark Domain. That was how the Dark Domain came to be. While they were on their way, Wang Meng couldn't help but ask for the names of his 2 subordinates. The burly man's name was Chun Jie. The gloomy man was called Lu Pan. Hence, Wang Meng simply called them Pan Zi and Jie Zi. Hence, while they were on their way, Wang Meng couldn't help but ask, Pan Zi, Gaz, why did you join the Heaven Desolate Palace? Hearing that, Pansy and Gaz were both stunned. They looked at Wang Mang in shock and asked with a strange expression, Sir, don't you know? Hearing that, Wang Mang was confused. Know what? Seeing Wang Mang's confused look, Pansy explained, Sir, it's like this. Villagers like us with no background can only reach the peak late-stage God Emperor realm. Now, if we want to increase our strength, we have to join a force and obtain pseudo-rank 6 superpowers and pseudo-rank 6 divine weapons. As for rank 6 superpowers and rank 6 divine weapons, these are not things that we can hope for. In the ancestral realm of Heaven Desolate Palace, the best choice for us is to enter the Heaven Desolate Palace through competition. Because as long as we pass the competition and join the Heaven Desolate Palace, we can find a way to become an official and gain merit to be promoted. As long as we reach a certain level, such as the small city level, we will have the chance to learn a pseudo-rank 6 superpower and obtain resources. Every position has a fixed amount of resources. For example, the resources that the small city level earns is a fixed annual salary of 100 law crystals. The resources that the large city level earns is a fixed annual salary of 200 law crystals. As for you, sir, your annual salary is 1,000 law crystals. In addition, sir, you can also learn a pseudo-rank 6 superpower for free, or you can borrow a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon for free. The higher the official position, the more power and status, as well as the more resources you can obtain. It's said that as long as you become a national official, you can obtain an identity token, and the Heaven Desolate Palace will arrange for you to break through to rank 6. After hearing Pan Zgaz's explanation, Wang Mang finally understood. It was no wonder that these guys joined the Heaven Desolate Palace, even though their strength had already reached the peak of rank 5. Clearly, joining the Heaven Desolate Palace was the best way to increase one's strength. In fact, there was even a slight chance of reaching rank 6. It was no wonder that so many people fought to join the Heaven Desolate Palace. That was because the Heaven Desolate Palace was not only the strongest faction in the ancestral realm of Heaven Desolate Palace. Furthermore, it was also the only chance for countless rank 5 existences to break through to rank 6. After all, in this limited ancestral realm of Heaven Desolate Palace, every rank 6 expert that was born meant that a rank 6 expert was going to disappear. A few more days passed. Wang Mang and the other two finally arrived. This was the so-called Black Domain. The Black Domain was a large city without a gate. Furthermore, entering and exiting from the city gate, the cultivators entering and exiting here all had ferocious expressions. Among them, a group of people gathered at the city gate and demanded law crystals from passers-by. When Wang Mang and the other two were about to enter the city, they were also stopped by this group of people. The burly man with a scar on his face, who was the leader, was even more brazen. Newcomers? 1 law crystal per person entering the city. If you don't have it, then scram. Don't enter the city. Hearing this, Wang Mang was stunned, his face full of astonishment. Good heavens, he came to take up the position of master of the Black Domain. In the end, he was stopped at the city gate and charged. Thinking of this, Wang Mang was so angry that he laughed and was about to speak. At this time, Pansy and Gaz were furious. Blind Dog, do you know who he is? Hearing this, the burly man, and the others were stunned. Then they could not help but laugh unscrupulously. No matter who you are in the Black Domain, even if you are a dragon, you have to coil up. Even if you are a tiger, you have to lie down. Are you trying to scare me? Who are you? In the Black Domain, I don't care who you are. F***CK. This is the Black Domain. No matter who you are, it's useless here. The burly man in the lead could not help laughing mockingly. Huh? Who is he? Is he your father? Even if he is your father, he has to hand over law crystals to enter the city. Of course, if you are willing to be my godson, I can consider waiving the law crystals to enter the city. Chapter 941. After hearing the burly man's words, the burly men beside him laughed even harder. Yes, yes, yes. If you are willing to be Brother Lu's godson, the entrance fee will be waived. Of course, we have to give face to Brother Lu. How can we charge Brother Lu's godson? After hearing the unbridled laughter of the crowd, Wang Mang's eyes grew even colder as he coldly said, Very well. If I tell you, I'm here to take over as the master of the dark region. Hearing this, the group of burly men who had been laughing suddenly stopped laughing. The burly man with a scar on his face squinted his eyes and sized up Wang Mang. But when they saw Pansy and Gaz beside Wang Mang, they had the Heaven Wasteland Palace's bronze village logo on their chests. These fellows fell into silence one after another. Obviously, even in the chaotic dark region, they were lawless and even vicious people. But they still did not dare to provoke the people of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. The Heaven Wasteland Palace was too powerful with the ancestor of Heaven Wasteland behind them. Therefore, they were the most powerful force in the ancestor's realm of Heaven Wasteland. No one wanted to provoke them. If they offended other forces, they could still live freely. But if they dared to go against the Heaven Wasteland Palace, they would be courting death. Therefore, the burly man with a scar on his face suddenly laughed and said, So you are from the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Then the entrance fee will be waived. The three of you, please go ahead. Hearing this, Wang Mang snorted coldly. His eyes were cold, and he instantly attacked. Wang Mang raised his hand, and the terrifying Devour Law condensed into a sword finger. Bang, 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 as Wang Mang gently pointed his finger. Several Devour Law sword fingers pierced the space between the eyebrows of the burly men. There was a loud thud. The burly men lost their vitality and died on the spot. The next moment, Wang Mang opened his mouth and a terrifying Devour power emerged. Then, the burly men were swallowed by Wang Mang. At the same time, the system's voice sounded. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully devoured a seventh heavens God Emperor expert. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 700 million energy values. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully devoured an eighth heaven God Emperor expert. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 800 million energy points. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully devoured a ninth heaven God Emperor expert. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 1 billion energy points. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully devoured an eighth heaven God Emperor expert. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 800 million energy points. After listening to the system's voice, Wang Mang nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. He had obtained another few billion energy points. At the same time, seeing that Wang Mang had directly attacked and killed the burly men, Wang Mang was shocked. Pansy and Gaz were stunned, and then they couldn't help but gasp. No wonder they always felt that Wang Mang gave them an incomparably terrifying feeling. Moreover, this terrifying feeling of threat was no less than that of a rank 6 powerhouse. Now, they finally understood why he gave them such a terrifying feeling. Obviously, their lord's strength was close to rank 6. Even if he wasn't rank 6 yet, he should be close to it. Thinking of this, both Pansy and Gaz were in awe of him. Following a person who would definitely reach rank 6 in the future, their future was simply boundless. Moreover, Wang Mang was from the Heaven Wasteland Palace, and his future achievements would definitely not be too low. Thinking of this, the gazes with which they looked at Wang Mang became even more respectful. Wang Mang naturally noticed this. He ignored the crowd. Wang Mang held the armrest and said indifferently, Let's go. Let's go in. After that, Wang Mang put his hands behind his back and walked into the city. Pansy and Gaz quickly followed him. After Wang Mang entered this super large city, he walked towards the center of the city. In Wang Mang's view, the City Lord's mansion could not be built in a remote place, right? Very soon, Wang Mang trio arrived at the center of the city. Something worth mentioning was, The scene in Black Domain City simply made Wang Mang frown uncontrollably, because Black Domain City was too chaotic. Fighting in the city was as common as the hairs on an ox. In fact, there were even some extremely vicious people among them, forcing women to do some heinous things on the street. In short, with the 8 gates of flower protection, any kind of melodramatic thing could happen. There were even strong people who forced the weak to kneel on the ground and eat shit. There were also strong people who slaughtered the weak like cattle and horses, cutting their flesh and drinking their blood. There were also tall and burly half-beast-man powerhouses who knew men. For some male experts, she would make a decree to them, and she would do such a thing as knowing that they were men. Here, it was like a heaven of sin, like hell on earth, like demons in the human world. Because of this, even Wang Mang, who killed without blinking and devoured powerhouses like eating pigs, felt very uncomfortable. Because there was no so-called order or rules here at all. All kinds of unbelievable things could be seen here. To be honest, after seeing such a place, Wang Mang had to admit that this place was indeed worthy of its name. Not long after, Wang Mang finally arrived at the mighty and solemn City Lord's mansion in the center of the city. The City Lord's mansion was a tall building. While it looked imposing, there were 20 guards standing in a row outside the door, each with an arrogant expression. After seeing Wang Mang trio, 2 of the men who looked like leaders could not help but shout angrily, "Where did you come from? Hurry up and get lost. If you dare to approach the City Lord's mansion, you will be killed without mercy." This time, without waiting for Wang Mang to speak, Wang Mang and Pansy Jay-Z stepped forward and slapped him twice. "Are you blind? Can you see clearly who we are? Open your eyes wide and look. We are a small village-level organization. How dare an unorganized watchdog talk to us like this?" Obviously, Pansy and GAZ saw the fake, small village-level organization logo on their chests at a glance. This kind of fake small village-level organization logo looked similar to the small village-level organization logo, but in fact, they were the external staff of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. To put it bluntly, they were temporary workers. They were the standard reserves of the small village-level organization, but in fact, they were external staff. Moreover, as long as they were part of the large village-level organization, they could help set up some fake village signs. Therefore, in front of these temporary workers, even though Pansy and GAZ were just village signs, they still had a strong sense of superiority. Because although they were the lowest members of the Heaven Wasteland Palace, they were still regular members and had been recognized by the Heaven Wasteland Palace. But these unorganized guys dared to yell at them? This was a complete disregard for the 2 of them. The junior leaders, they had to slap them. They had to tell them with their big mouths. Small leaders were also leaders. Because of this, that was why Pansy and GAZ didn't hesitate to slap him. What was more, Wang Mang, the city-level leader, was still here. They did not perform well at the city gate before. Now, they naturally had to perform well. Chapter 942. To be honest, the 2 leaders of the City Lord's Mansion's guards were also stunned. When they came back to their senses, they couldn't help but be furious. But when they saw the official village logo on their chests, although they were furious, they didn't dare to act rashly. Because what Pansy GA and Pansy GA said was the truth. They were indeed not official members. But Pansy GA and Pansy GA were official members of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Just this point alone was enough to surpass them, although they were usually arrogant in the governor's mansion. But when they met official members, they didn't dare to offend them, because the village logo of the Heaven Wasteland Palace was also a logo. It was normal for superiors to beat their subordinates, but they couldn't beat up their superiors. Otherwise, they wouldn't end well. If their superiors had the strength, they could even beat up temporary workers like them. But temporary workers like them couldn't beat up official members of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. Otherwise, the Heaven Wasteland Palace would investigate. They would either be arrested and imprisoned or killed directly. Similarly, it was the same for the top stage 5 members in the outside world. Because with the village logo, It represented the Heaven Wasteland Palace. They couldn't provoke them. Even if they were stronger than Pansy GA and Pansy GA, they wouldn't dare to kill the people of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. The next moment, after hesitating, the two lowered their heads and cupped their hands. Sirs, this subordinate was blind and did not see the two of you clearly. Hearing this, Pansy GA and Pansy nodded in satisfaction. Then, they walked to Wang Mang and said, Sir, you can go in now. Hearing this, Wang Mang nodded and walked into the city with his hands behind his back. At first, the two guards at the door had wanted to block the entrance. After all, the governor's mansion wasn't a place anyone could enter. But when they saw Pansy GA and Pansy GA trying to please Wang Mang and even calling him Sir, they didn't go forward to block him. Sir was the general name of the Heaven Wasteland Palace. It meant that they were superior. This meant that this young man with a terrifying aura was most likely a member of the Heaven Wasteland Palace, and his position wasn't low. Therefore, they naturally didn't dare to step forward to stop him. They were afraid that they would be slapped for no reason. After entering the City Lord's mansion, there were actually 3 buildings. The one in the middle was the tallest, while the 2 beside it were slightly shorter. The 3 buildings also had plaques written on them. The mansion in the middle had the words City Lord's Mansion written on it, while the left and right sides had the words Vice City Lord's Mansion written on it. In addition, there were 3 small attics with the following words written on them: the Black Region Peace and Order Palace, the Black Region Prison Palace, and the Black Region Governance Palace. Perhaps it had sensed the arrival of Wang Mang and the others. 2 middle-aged men walked out of the City Lord's mansion. Moreover, he seemed to be very authoritative. There were a few people from the desolate Heaven Palace following behind him, and they were all wearing village badges. At this time, the 2 middle-aged men glanced at Pansy and Gaz behind Wang Mang. Then they looked at Wang Mang and asked, "And this fellow Taoist is?" Hearing this, Wang Mang looked indifferent. He immediately took out the appointment letter arranged by Chu Long and handed it to the middle-aged man. Although these 2 people were both at the same level as him, they were at the city level. Their positions were not as high as his, so they naturally didn't need to show any fawning expressions to the 2 of them. Similarly, after reading the appointment letter and Chu Long's letter of appointment, the 2 of them looked gloomy. Originally, they thought that the position of the Black Region Lord should be borne between the 2 of them. But in the end, the higher-ups directly arranged for a new Black Region Lord, Wang Mang, to come directly out of nowhere. This simply made them very angry. For the sake of the city Lord's position, the 2 of them fought so fiercely that they almost didn't stop until one of them died. Therefore, it would be strange if the 2 of them looked good. But despite the anger in their hearts, the 2 of them still said with a stiff face, "So it's fellow Taoist City Lord. I'm Yuan Gu, the Deputy City Lord. I'm Yang Wei, the Deputy City Lord." Hearing this, Wang Mang nodded indifferently and said, "Why was I intercepted and charged the city entrance fee when I entered the city?" After hearing Wang Mang's words, the 2 of them had a slight change in expression. Among them, City Lord Yuan Gu said softly, "Fellow Taoist, it's better not to interfere too much. This involves the interests of too many people." The other Deputy City Lord, Yang Wei, also nodded slowly and echoed, "Fellow Taoist, it's better not to interfere so easily." Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately narrowed his eyes and said with a chuckle, "Then what should I do?" Hearing this, Yuan Gu and Yang Wei looked at each other and said with a smile, "Fellow Taoist, if you want to relax, you can choose to do nothing. When the time comes, it's not a bad choice for you to be a local tyrant in the Black Region." Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately sneered and said, "Just let me be an invisible person. When the time comes, the Black Region will still be under the control of the 2 of you, right?" After hearing Wang Mang's words, Yuan Gu and Yang Wei both felt a little awkward, but they had to admit that they did have such thoughts. If they could continue to control the Black Region, they were naturally unwilling to let go. Because what did it mean to continue to control the Black Region? It meant that they would have an endless supply of resources. It meant that they had the chance to break through to rank 6. Therefore, who would not want to be in power? After all, the Heaven Wasteland Hall did not prohibit the abuse of power for personal gain. The abuse of power for personal gain was too common in the Heaven Wasteland Hall. Therefore, this was also the reason why these people were obsessed with power. At this moment, Yuan Gu, who had been silent for a while, spoke. Fellow Taoist, we can do this. You can let Yang Wei and I continue to be in power. Yang Wei and I will take half of any source of income, and you will take the other half. Hearing this, Wang Meng's heart skipped a beat, but he did not agree easily. Instead, he asked indifferently, the half you mentioned, how much can we get in a year? Hearing this, Yang Wei and Yuan Ji's eyes immediately lit up. Although it pained them to give half of the benefits to Wang Meng, there was nothing they could do. However, there was nothing he could do about it. Once Wang Meng stabilized his position as city lord, he would be able to do anything. There was basically nothing for them to do. Thinking of this, Vice City Lord Yuan Gu slowly said, last year, Vice City Lord Yang Wei and I, each of us got 20,000 law crystals, including the rest of the income. It reached 50,000 law crystals per person. Hearing this, Panziga and Z both gasped. Obviously, they did not expect this either. This was just a small city-level establishment leader. In the end, they could amass so much wealth. After all, how much was their annual salary? It was only a few hundred law crystals, compared to the two guys in front of them. It was simply a drop in the ocean. Thinking that everyone was at the peak of rank 5, Panziga and Z were very upset. At this moment, the two of them secretly swore in their hearts. One day, they would also climb to the peak of power. At the same time, Wang Meng also slowly shook his head and demanded an exorbitant price. Half is too little. If you want me to completely give up my power, I can, but I want 70% of the profits. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.